We'll wait for it to come fully online, and then we will begin creating a fluffy, wuffy universe of fucking stupid shit. It'll be great. It'll be fantastic, and it'll be an excellent way for us to show off this software, this program, which, no, I'm not endorsed by Campfire. I just really, really like it, and I kind of want to share it with people because I think it's actually cool. Okay. It seems to be live. Now, we'll see, because I'm uploading videos. I can always cancel it. If the quality drops or anything like that, or if audio hiccups start happening for whatever rhyme or reason, we'll just cancel the uploaded videos and upload them after the stream. So, first things first, Hans will be here. Fairman's internet died, so we lost him. Oh, is he back? Oh, fuck. No, it's you. Never mind. Okay, so new story file, right? We're going to want to save this. This will be called Warhammer 40k FanFiction, so I don't mix it up with my actual other projects. And there we get fucking A. Story genre will be sci fantasy. Author will be Kibbs, Hands. Now I'm assuming Fairman's going to come back, and the audience, because we will take some of your guys' input. The game still says that? That's a shame. It has yet to fully update. You'll have to give it a second there, Sultan. That's a bit of a disappointment. It should update in a second. Okay, if you refresh the page, it should be good now. I had to reset it twice. Sekiro Shadows died twice. Yeah, definitely. Teaser.
For me, it says writing fanfic.
No, under category. In fact, it shouldn't even be under gaming. Actually, what is actually available? Creative, gaming, people's, comedy, entertainment, news, and... Yeah, well, gaming's going to have to fit. It's technically on Steam, so bam, look at that. Even though it's under the software tab. Whatever. Great, thanks. I wish everybody good luck. Good time. Enjoy your movie, JPG. All right. He'll be watching this later. So, synopsis, we can ignore that for now, so we'll just create. We'll come back to that. I will dump this in the desktop. Boop. We'll go to FanFiction. Now, FanFiction is a great way to practice writing. It's easy because the universe is already built up, and you can kind of just, like, use a pre-existing universe to practice ideas and themes. So, always when writing a fanfiction, don't be afraid to go crazy and break some things here and there, because it doesn't really matter. But then come back, and that's what we'll do. We'll go back, Hans and I will, and once Fairman comes back, and we'll try to fix it up so that it fits within the universe. The idea is we're going to be writing Felonid lore, because there's not enough Felonid lore out there to really, base anything off of, so we get a lot of creative freedom. And we're going to try to write them in a sensible way that makes sense. Pros, cons, and then just sort of fit it together. See how it feels. If they're too strong, too powerful, too weak, or whatever, balance them out. Honestly, I think the aim for the Felonid should be is that they're kind of like, eh. Like, I don't think they should be that special, honestly. That's just my opinion, though. Okay, so Warhammer Fiction. Actually, I'm going to be a little bit more specific with the save. Felonid. In case we decide to do it as a multi-part series. So, there. Saved it. Bam. Gibbs, Hans, Fairman, and the audience. So, we will be taking some of your input and importing it into here. So, first things first. Warhammer 40k is a pre-established universe. So first thing we're going to do here is timeline, I think. Disgusting, this background. Hold on. I'd hate that. Just make it dark all the time. Thank you. Easier on the eyes. Okay, so first things first. What is the golden age of man, right? That's the thing?
Yeah, that was basically when humanity...
And that was what year point? 20,000?
Oh, I do not remember any of the dates.
We'll just say it's 20,000. We can come back and clean it up. It's not. This will be an off-screen event. Major magnitude, right? This will be the beginning point of the story. Okay, there we go. Now, one thing we need to do is I think we'll use the dividers to signify major changes. So, the Golden Age of Man. How does this fit into the Felonid homeworld, right? Okay, well, we need to have the world be colonized. What was the name of the planet? Okay, when it was rediscovered, was it renamed that? Actually, this is a good question. Okay, well, you know what we'll call it? We'll just call this the Felonid homeworld. Or no. We'll call it...
Carlos McConnell was...
Oh, that's bad. Okay, you know what? I might retcon that, because that's bad. Carlos McConnell, temporal location, whatever. Well, technically, we'll just say 20,000, still. I'm not going to fuck with the timeline too much. Mostly because 40K's timeline's kind of weird. This will be an off-screen event, blah, blah, blah. And specifically, it was colonized, right? So we can say it was colonized. There. Okay, so we have another event. Major off-screen event. Two things. One thing we want to do is connect these items here. Click here, toggle line type. Actually, no. What am I doing? No, I like to do, god damn it. Specific things. Toggle line type. Solid line, please. And we'll use an arrow. That way we can easily tell, this event to this event. So, Carlos McConnell. Fucking dumb fucking name. I hate it. We're probably going to come back to that and fix it. So, it was colonized, right? So, Golden Age of Man, during this age, it was colonized, right? And what's the thing that happens to mankind? Age of Strife, right? Yes.
I think that's what it's called.
Age of Strife. Okay. Technically, I could probably use the dividers as a signifying thing. And the next thing we'll have is, okay, so what happened during the Age of Strife? In fact, no, let's go a little bit more detail here. Let's go into a little bit more detail. Edit events. So, Carlos McConnell was colonized, right? It was colonized by human... colonized by Golden Age era humans. Now, why would they colonize? It's an oceanic world is what we're making up. What would be the purpose of colonizing it? Maybe it's like a world for, like, tropical habitat. Perhaps, exotic exports and fish or food. Or maybe there's untapped resources underneath the ocean at the very bottom.
I could see either rare resources or just a lot of a certain type of resource, or I can see a resort planet.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll just leave these like it was colonized for a resort planet. It was also colonized for rare minerals, exotic sea goods, like, fish. Maybe there was some really pretty fish or something there that they were like, oh, let's export that because I don't fucking know. We'll get to the details. We'll probably end up coming back to this, right? Okay, we could probably set locations, actually. Okay, well, actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to save. So it's important to save this. And then we'll go over to the world. Add a map. Galactic map. And then we'll use the Warhammer 40K Galaxy map, like that. 1920 times. Let's just try that. It cannot be empty. Or is it... How do you do it? Is he just space? No. Can I just set it? Pixels width. Oh no, the name. Okay. Galactic map. Or no, it'll be the galaxy. No, wait. Technically it's the Milky Way. Let's be fair here. Okay, that's fucking tiny, but it'll do. It'll do. I should have found a... Thanks for the achievement. Which is weird, because I'm working on a pre-existing story, and I imported over since I bought it on Steam. And it's like giving me achievements for things that I already technically have done. So, we want a world, right? This will be Carlos fucking McConnell. God damn it. Alright, so where is Carlos McConnell? Well, we can put it... Actually, wait, can I go back? Milky Way. Can I add an object, right? Add map. Yep, we did a map, so that's like a sub-layer underneath that. They reworked this, so there's some new stuff here, actually. View world, Milky Way, Carlos McConnell... How do I make it? Add location. Yes. Okay. Carlos McConnell, and it'll be a world. World. Linked map. Oh, fuck yes. That is a good feature. Okay. Colors, nations, people born here. Excellent. This will be the fluffy bits. Or no. This will be the solar system, I think. So, Carlos. The McConnell system. That's terrible. Okay. Fucking why? Oh, God, that actually hurts me. That actually hurts me. Okay, we're gonna put that over here. We can move it later. It's going to be in the Ultima Segmentum. It'll be in the Ultima Segmentum. Okay. God, that was actually right. Take a shot every time Cal says we'll come back to that. Daniel, we're going to have to come back to a lot of that, okay? What's this button here? Oh, that's a new button. Fuck. I don't like it. I don't understand. Oh, wait, no, it turns it back. Wait, where did the... Oh, there it is. What the fuck? What the fuck is that? What does that do? It just puts it off the map. Oh, it unpins it. Okay, so it's pinned there, right? So it's done. Okay, now we'll go to Carlos McConnell. Every time take a drink when he says come back there. Fuck you. Fuck you. I love you. This will be called the McConnell system. Wow. Actually, I think I did that backwards now. I'm a little bit sad. We'll do 1920. How about that? Then we'll add a background image. And I've already gone and gotten the background images kind of already in a folder because I had a little bit of foresight. I was like, hey, I'll put that together in advance because fuck it. All right, so the system, there we go. Poof. Oh, I guess I got to stretch it to 1920, right? Ah, pretty. That's beautiful. I think that's from EVE Online. Okay, that looks cool. So we can add a bunch of planets and shit. But we need to add a sun. Okay, so add location. The McConnell sun. See, I have no idea what to name anything yet, so it's going to be like a bunch of placeholder names just to get things placed out, and then we'll come back to that. You know, every time Kib says come back, then take a shot, and I hope you don't get alcohol poisoning. Good God. Carlos McConnell. I have typed this name more times than I ever thought I would in my life. Okay, did I do that right or no? Okay, if I go to world. Okay, Milky Way, Carlos McConnell, the McConnell. Fuck, that's backwards. Okay, how do I undo that?
Like you said, you'll go back and fix it.
I'm gonna fix it now because this is kind of like a thing like I want fixed. So delete, edit location, import, export, set image to. Connell system. Okay, well, that's great, right? Kind of weird how that works now. Milky Way. So there's the Milky Way, right? Bam. World's McConnell system. Well, how do I... It's not as intuitive as I was hoping this update would be. I might have to submit a thing and be like, hey guys, like, maybe you should make like a proper tutorial on it. Okay. Well, we kind of have an idea. So, let's go back to the McConnell system, right? So we go to view. Okay, so you have to go to view or world, maps, switching maps. Okay. McConnell system, and then we'll just use that. All right. So we want to add, not a map, a location, and this will be the sun. Okay, can we just like say it's like a celestial body? Right? Update that shit. Oof. Look. Sun. Bam. Add location. Carlos McConnell. For the 7th time. The sun's not going to be called McConnell because fuck that. I just can't stand that shit. There. Carlos McConnell.
Yeah,
the sun.
I don't see why the sun needs a name. You can just call it the sun.
Okay. If we click on this, we can see all the detailed data about the planet. Anything we do in there, we'll have to set up to be in the present day. So one final fucking thing we need to do is add one last map. Right? And that's the world map. We kind of painted this together real quick. Fucking planet. There. Oof. Then we'll add this beautiful, beautiful picture that will sting your eyes a little bit. And we will stretch it. That's a lot of neat maps. Thanks for the... Oh, what? There we go. There. Bam. We got a little map. Doesn't properly stretch because my monitor's so big, but whatever. And it's an oceanic world, and we'll talk about some color code. So one thing quickly, just like dark blue represents deeper depth, less deeper. We didn't worry about tectonic plates when designing this map because I can't be asked, and just It's when you do tectonic plates, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to look at references. What's the best reference? You use Earth, right? A lot of times when you design maps, if you want to make water currents, rain patterns, cloud patterns, we're just going to be pretty standard with this. This is simple. This is the equator line, right horizontal, right there, okay? Or maybe it's like there. So it's hot as fucking hell close to the equator. It's colder down here-ish, and it's colder up there. Easy peasy. Technically speaking, you'd have to worry about warm water, pushing up hotter air and stuff like that. Oh, that's a lot of shit, though. That's a lot of shit. Not to mention storm patterns. And equators can affect things like tsunamis, hurricanes, shit like that. Or equators, tectonic plates, blah, blah, blah. Earthquakes, things like that. And that could actually play a big role in the cultures and societies that develop there. So we might make some stuff up so we can have this world become fractured after the Golden Age. So, back to the timeline. Now that we've pieced this together. I like to save story because I'm paranoid if the thing crashes. It hasn't before.
To get into.
So, Carlos McConnell was colonized same fucking year because 40K is bad with timelines. Alright, so next event that needs to happen, Age of Strife. Everything hits the fan, right? The collapse is what we'll call this. Because I would imagine, or no, would the government necessarily collapse on Carlos McConnell? During the Age of Strife, would they have the necessary equipment and supplies to maintain the colony? How early into the colonization period was it when the Age of Strife struck, when they became severed from the rest of humanity?
No, given they give you a single line to work with, imagine you can decide.
We'll say that they weren't properly equipped for it. That way we can have a little bit of fucking drama happen. So it'll be like the collapse, because their government collapsed, the original ruling government. The original administration collapses due to infighting over they'd have tons of materials, but maybe not enough processed goods. Maybe they exported the raw materials from the planet, and so they had little industrial capacity to do much. So yes, they're resource rich, but it's like, okay, we can't make tools.
Just the raw resources.
Yeah, we can't make the tools because the tools were being shipped to us, and so we're kind of fucked now. Okay, so we're gonna start throwing times out here. Over the administration resources, temporal location we'll say is in 20,000. What's that? Makes sense. I thought that was fun made. Oh, we're just making shit up. Gaza, nope, it was originally in the actual lore. The fans just popularized the shit out of it because cat girls. 376 years. Okay, well, we're gonna say, okay, when did the actual Age of Strife happen? That's Google, help me. No, not Wacom. I don't need you to help me. You take my money. You never help. They collapsed to infighting. To infight over control of resources and political power, creating a shogunate-like warrior states. We're going for feudalistic Japan. Is that what we're doing here? Also, look at that. You type in Felonid lore, what do you get? Fucking Barch. I love it. Okay, one thing we need to do is Warhammer Age of Strife. When did it happen, right? Did they know? When does the Age of Strife happen? Okay, Age of Strife, also known as the Old Knight, has appeared in Warhammer 40,000 prior to the creation of Imperium Man. Very little is known. Okay, of course, they're going to use we don't know when it happened. Okay, well, fuck, I'm just going to make it up then, because we need an approximation. So, approximately, this happened in 2000... Fuck, I'll use what you just said. You used a number there. 376. 376. Fuck it. I kind of want it to happen, like, midway.
As good as any other, I guess.
No. That needs to happen there, because doesn't, this go on for a long time? Because we need to go from 20,000 to 40,000. That's 20,000 years of development. Or collapse, development, restructure, whatever. So, whatever. Okay. Okay. Wait, I thought I just saved that. What the fuck? Or wait, was that this one? Oops. We'll say that that's an on-screen event, because... Or no. That would technically be off-screen. Boop. Okay, so... This happened Let's just make this clean now. This will fucking save us some time. What we'll use as a segment is that we'll use the dotted lines. Be like, okay, if it transitions over, I don't imagine this timeline is going to get too complicated. All right, so the collapse. So what happens during the collapse, right? So they're collapsed for a bit. You know, this could be the Dark Ages for them. They went through a Dark Age from, we could say, is the Dark Age maybe hit. Fuck it, we'll just start with same year of the collapse, or no. How would we write that?
Maybe give it a few years.
I'm going to actually do a dash to represent it goes from this period to this period. So we have a sense of time until the reform. How many years would it take for them to recuperate? Let's just throw a guesstimated ballpark. How many years did it take in our timeline for the medieval nations of Europe to sort of put themselves back together in a more powerful and more organized way? It took, like, the Roman Empire collapsed in 475 or something, 70-something AD, and around 1500 AD, so maybe use 800, 900 years. But it's 40K, and we need time, so...
Now, keep in mind the lines of communication back then also, it just took longer, and they would have technology from...
Yeah, I imagine things would actually not take
faster.
that long to fix, because honestly, this
I would
world
say
is
like
not
25, 30 years, something like that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty much what I was thinking. So 25 plus 76 is not a number that I... Oh, it's 1. Fuck, that carries over. I'm tired, though. Hands out, bae! 400... No, you dummy. Or yeah, no, it'd be 400... What? Wait, how many years were we adding? I already forgot. Ooh, fix that.
25 or 30 years, take your pick.
Okay, well, we'll just fucking throw in a random number. We'll say... Okay, so... From 2,376 to 20,439, they experienced a little dark age. When a period, wouldn't it be longer though? I don't like how short that is. We have way too many years to work with.
Someone suggested 50 to 60. Wirewolf says 1,000.
1,000. Damn, I mean, fuck. They were just like fucking flailing around like, oh my god, everything's terrible. See, they could put themselves together, but not only getting their populace up in numerical numbers, as well as stabilizing. Because how harsh is this world, right? It's a lot of water, there's not a lot of land, not a lot of places to build. They're going to have a lot of fucking problems already. One of the big problems I can see already is the fact that where the fuck are they going to... The only ways they can expand is, okay, they could build like ships, or they could build like floating cities. Submersible cities are cute and all, but like that's so technologically far out, they're not going to do that. That's a very advanced piece of tech.
They could also potentially go underground, but
they could dig, they could build down, they could build up. True. They could do that. Okay, so let's see. 20,000, they experience many Dark Age, but they're able to put themselves together. The Dark Age ends when someone seizes power. Somebody strong enough is able to unite them. Who unites them? We don't need to come up with names just yet. Somebody unites them. Who unites them? And how do they do it? Okay, is it probably strength of arms? Maybe? Ships. Naval. Whoever controlled the ships and flotilla was able to control the rest of the islands because they could just blockade them from the other islands. So you would have a complete stranglehold. Or whoever had the air power as well. Air power is a big thing in naval warfare. So we'll say that an admiral, right? Maybe like, the local fucking Coast Guard guy's like, hey, I'm the ruler now. There we go.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. Whoever would control the Navy would eventually control them all, because they can't move from island to island without the Navy. So... The Dark Age ends with someone. I hate that. We'll use a name.
How about you just refer to them by their title instead of having a specific name? So you said the Admiral, so why not just refer to the Admiral?
The Grand Admiral. Because he would obviously give himself a great title, right? The Grand Admiral seizes control. Also, there's no autocorrect or grammar function in this, and we're not going to worry about that. The Dark Age ends with the Grand Admiral seizing control. Seizing control. You fucking idiot. Control. Through the strength of his flotilla. Uniting the various islands under a single banner. Okay. That's pretty good, actually. He was able to restore order and unite them under him because he's like, I'll sink your fucking fishing ships. And I'm like, shit. We still have to get to how the fuck they turned into goddamn cat people. That's gonna take a while. It's only been about 39 years since the collapse, so we don't really need to worry about that yet. They're not gonna be fucking evolving yet. What would evolve them? Don't worry about that. We'll get to that in just a sec. Okay, don't think about that. So, Dark Age. Poof. Look at that. No, it's not on screen. This is all backlore shit. This is fucking A. Should have a default. For them, it's major. To the universe, nobody gives a fuck, so I guess it'd be a minor event. Technically, they'd all be minor. That's not major. If we're going to be realistic here, none of this is major. But to them, it's a big deal. Right? So the collapse, the Dark Age. The Dark Age ends in a relatively quick manner. It doesn't last too long. I mean, it lasts almost 100 years, so, it's that. It's close.
And that's over an entire generation.
All these are going to be minor events. They don't matter. It should be, like, insignificant as well. Like, minor, insignificant. It's a single world in this universe. Okay, the next event. Consolidating of power. The Consolidation. And this will happen probably in a lot larger span of time. Because I imagine the planet was fairly sparsely populated beforehand with mostly just people scattered around doing various things. And also, this can be kind of vague because this kind of information could be lost throughout their time. Rogue Trader House Neko. I was actually thinking of making them a feudalistic society. Not because it's retarded and funny, but it's kind of fits the universe because they kind of have that going on. What's that?
Think about it. It's like there's a lot of little islands that are extremely far apart. So it's just like, well, what's the best way to keep control of them?
Basically, the Grand Admiral, over the course of time, so this could happen through the consolidation of power. He elects, so how do they turn to monarchy? Let's say initially their society wasn't a monarchy, but they need a catalyst that makes them monarchy. So he's going to have to enact some edicts that will bring them to a point where they're like, okay, like maybe he makes like a peer list or something. No, he's not going to do that. Okay, I'm going to imagine this guy's fairly...
If he's a admiral, then why not him appointing like his loyal captains or something like that?
Yep, he'll appoint them to governorship of each island, right? So from this period, I'd say he's going to die, right? The first Grand Admiral in this period. Consolidation power, they're not going to have too much infighting because he's kind of has an iron grip now. So we're going to say this goes on for maybe 5,000 years, and we can say that this is a big point for cultural change. Not just 5... We'll do 3,000, we'll come back to it. 3,000 years flat. And we'll just do 2, 5, and we'll just do a flat number because we're just kind of rounding here. Okay, so that, over this course of time, the Grand Admiral, because he's going to die, he's not going to live that long, picks, or assigns his most loyal subjects, no, not subjects, personnel. No, command staff. How about that?
Yeah, I would say command staff.
Command staff. Governorship of the various islands. They are tasked with overseeing the, not just the, overseeing the populations. The populaces, well, what would they be tasked with? They would be tasked with overseeing the populaces, maintaining order, because this would be a dark time for these people. These people on this world probably feel so cut off and alone right now, because I'm assuming that this planet is the only planet that's colonized in the system. And it's sparsely at that. Is it because they ate fish is why they turned into cat people? Make it like foot binding in China. Oh no, that's terrible. See, look, they're not stupid at this point. That's the thing. So one thing to bear in mind, the humans on this world at this point are not idiots. They didn't regress backwards. They had a dark point when there was panic for about almost 100, or not 100 years, but about what? The Dark Age, well, almost 100 years. It was pretty rough. We had a rough point, but they didn't probably lose too much technology, as in they didn't have a lot of industrialization or ability to produce things. And so there was a little bit of chaos and panic, and probably hoarding of food and resources. Tools would probably be sacred. Can you imagine like a screwdriver? Like, oh shit, man, that thing's fucking godsend. Any screws? Like, they can't produce that stuff.
Can you imagine what would happen to the people if they're out in the middle of nowhere and they accidentally drop their toolbox overboard?
Oh no! Oh, they drop like a fucking electric screwdriver, like a power tool into the water, and it just watches sink. Like, oh no, oh no. Yeah, no, that'd probably be like fucking 1,000 lashings till you're dead. Now, look, Wise consolidating power is gonna definitely start to. Okay, so each sector would be each governor. The tasked with overseeing the populace, maintaining order. Throughout. Immediately afterwards, they begin designating islands for certain roles. Islands for specific roles. Because they have so few islands, they would need to have certain things. So because they have a flotilla of ships, they can obviously ship, equipment back again. Fuel is going to be an issue because they had fuel probably shipped to the planet. We're going to say that it was fairly early and not quite industrialized. So they will have a resource survey team or something like that. Afterwards, they begin designating islands to specific roles, sending out survey teams to scour for essential resources, such as food. I don't imagine that'll be too difficult to find, but perhaps promethium, because that's their fuel source, and any other essential resources. Upon locating these resources, the administration, we'll say the new administration, just to iterate that again, begins. What would they do? Okay, so they would begin acquiring or getting them. So they're gonna have to send out people to start setting up stuff, and this is gonna be very difficult because it would be like my state got cut off from the rest of our country, and we had we don't have the equipment for fucking drilling oil and shit. We'd be like, what the fuck? It would kind of suck. Administration begins setting up plans to begin construction immediately, because this is going to be important. Fuel. Construction immediately. And they would also implement fuel rationing. That would be another thing. This is a very dark period of time. Honestly, we could probably skim this, but I find this segment very interesting because it's so shitty. Begin setting up plans to begin construction. Rationing of fuel and food are in effect, as well as curfews. They would have to be. Things are getting kind of shitty. Read my long comment. I will, Daniel. All right, so Daniel, make it like. God damn it! Make it like foot binding in China. The Admiral thought genetically altered cat girls were sexy so soon. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. I kind of want the Admiral to be like this kind of reasonable folk, because he needs to be the reason. Not only should people follow him, not because he has guns, but he's also able to master some level of control over the populace. And then, after he dies, of course, he's going to be like, oh, my son's pretty great. He'll have his son rule, and maybe his son's not that bad. Maybe his daughter, for that one, rules, and maybe she's not that bad. But as time goes on, and maybe a little bit of incest happens, you never know. You never know. Shit starts to go a little bit south, and all of a sudden you got all sorts of problems. Heinz Ketchup, are you dead?
No.
Okay. I didn't know if you disconnected because I thought Fairman disappeared.
No, no, I
Nope.
just have nothing to add so far.
25,000, minor event. Okay, so curfews. Okay, we got a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff happening. Okay. Over the next few we're going to summarize this because we need to make progress. Over the next few generations, or the next generation, few generations, the Admiralty. No. That's skimming too much. This is kind of important. This needs to be elaborated and this will be kind of their culture. And then we can maybe say that there was a little bit of warp manifestation happened. Maybe they actually dealt with demons to a little bit of a degree. They had a little bit of an incident. And they had to, like, nuke an island. That's kind of funny. They had to nuke it twice. Oh, no! Oh, no! Cackles.
Well, the question is, how would they get the nukes if this was just a resource colony?
Yeah. I mean, it's a resource colony and it's an exotic colony. It had a lot of wealth and a lot of probably monetary value stuff. And they probably had a lot of money. And they're like, oh, look at all this money we got. Except it doesn't matter because we got cut off from the rest of mankind. From their perspective right now, they don't know what happened. The ships stopped coming. And they're like, tapping their little fucking feet like, where the fuck is everybody? Maybe they had some way to communicate, but if they sent out whatever ship they did have in orbit, it never came back.
Or maybe the Admiral knew, and he didn't want anyone else to find out, and that's why he clamped down as hard as he did.
Maybe the Admiral does know, and he's just like, look, it's a national emergency, or it's a small emergency. I'm going to set up a provisional government, and we're going to get things ordered. And don't worry, no panic. The rest of the humans will find us again. It's just there's been a horrible accident. A couple of shipments got attacked by pirates or something, and it'll be resolved shortly. Just be calm. And if you're not calm, we'll fucking throw you off the fucking deck or something. They splash into the water and drown. It's a big ocean. Very big ocean. In fact, the odds of you fucking stumbling on land are very fucking small. Okay, so curfews, fuel rationing. Okay, things are pretty bad. Maybe we should break this up, actually. Instead of having it last that long, we will have it last... I think we're trying to scrunch up too much time here. So we'll say to 21,000. We will round up, but this way... Oops. There. This way... God, I'm just going to do that. My eyes don't like to work right now. This way, it's not that much time. We have a lot more maneuverability still. So during this period, all the stuff that happens. Under his leadership, they were able to basically starve, or not starve off, but they were able to not collapse completely. They were able to solve the energy crisis by setting up some pretty crude, some crude. Wait, fuck! I can't remember how to spell crude. My brain's not working anymore. Some crude. What would it be called? Not just refining. They'd also need resource gathering. How do you gather promethium again? Fuck. Okay. This is one thing we gotta Google real quick.
Is it a?
It's like oil, isn't it?
Liquid.
Promethium. Warhammer. It's kind of like a liquid, sort of, but it's like super duper fucking difficult. Maybe they can't do promethium. Promethium's too hard to get for them. No, they don't get promethium. They have to switch. We need them to not solve to be. We need them to still regress, because if they don't regress a little bit, they're gonna have to switch technologies. Maybe not to coal, but I imagine crude oil would be a thing. There's plenty of life forms, and so there'd probably be plenty of crude oil in this world. They could use, basically, sort of, what they'd have to do is remanufacture ships, or their engines, not the ships, they wouldn't need to do that, but to go back to diesel-powered ships, and sort of wind back a little bit. So they did get hit with, they have the technology to, or they have the understanding to build promethium ships and promethium tech, but they don't have the ability to get the resource, because I imagine it's way too difficult to get promethium.
Or maybe they have reserves of promethium, but they don't want to waste it.
Yes, and so they're going to start mothballing the promethium ships or whatever, while they come up with a solution, and the temporary solution will be diesel power. Diesel power will sort of solve their immediate energy crisis, and maybe they'll use coal power for the for the rest of their cities on the islands to temporarily solve the energy crisis. Under his leadership, they were able to solve the energy crisis by setting up primitive energy, what are we called? Energy gathering methods. We'll just say it like that. That's going to sound weird, but such as harvesting coal for coal-based power plants erected across the various islands. Setting up, what would it be called? Oil platforms. They'd be getting it from the ocean floor, I imagine. They probably have plenty of submersible gear, so that probably wouldn't be too hard to do. Oil platforms, as well as refineries to process the oil. Over the course of the next, we're going to skim it a little bit here. Over the course of the next few generations, they fucking had problems. They had to have, oh no, maybe not as many problems, because they're kind of like, okay, you know, maybe things aren't that bad. I mean, they're probably a little annoyed by the fact, like, hey, my granddad, like, they're going through generations of people now, and no help has come, so maybe we do need to address the fact that he's like, oh, don't worry, help is coming, and maybe in his lifespan there was a little bit of a crisis there, and people are like, you're fucking lying, nobody's coming.
And maybe certain parts of his command staff that are a bit further away start to weak what potentially happened.
Try to usurp him. Oh. And maybe he is overthrown. Maybe he was a more sensible man, and the person who took his place saw that hereditary lines of succession were not so bad. That's terrible. Why would anyone think that? But maybe he thought that. Hereditary lines of succession. Oh, God. Promogenitures or promogenitors? What the fuck it's called?
I was thinking a bit farther along the timeline, where it's just like, okay, it's been maybe a generation or two, and some of his the command staff
descendants.
Like, you know what? Yeah, the descendants of them. It's like, yeah, you know what? Help's not coming. We want to fend for ourselves, and I want this island to be truly mine.
Ah, so whoever the son of the Admiral is at the time is going to have a little bit of a crisis. Ah, good. Then we can have a little bit of infight. What I was thinking. Yeah, they could have their own little civil war, and we could have some stuff happen there that could be fun. Under his leadership, blah, blah, blah. Over the next course of the next few generations, they were able to not just fend off catastrophe, but make a little bit of headway, so things don't look that bad. Then we're going to hit them with a catastrophe, and be like, gotcha. Gotcha. And this catastrophe could lead to, you know, the breakup of the unity on the planet. So you'd have various nation states. So we shatter the unification of them. That's good, I like that. That can create possible conflict down the road. Mm-hmm. We will have to introduce some sort of warp entity or warp things that are going to fuck with them and turn them into cat people at some point. I think when we get to the 25,000 mark, that needs to have happened or be happening. That needs to be a limit we set for ourselves. I'd imagine they'd probably erect wind farms. In fact, they'd probably erect them on the sea in vast quantities. They would not want to erect them on land, because land is precious. At the moment, especially.
Even more so now.
Yeah. And then once they'll eventually get the technology to probably erect flotaceous habitats or something like that can float on the water. Or maybe not float, but maybe be erected by pillars underwater. And it's supported. They wouldn't build them, I'd imagine, too far off the coast. Probably fairly in shallow waters. Utilizing the shallow surface or the shallow ground underneath. And that way, if anything bad really does happen, they can also send aid. Building out in the middle of the ocean would probably be fucking retarded. Because if something bad happens, it'll take them a while to get over there. And they don't even have space right now. Do they even have satellites? Is there any satellites in orbit? Maybe there's like some... I'd imagine there'd be some basic ones.
Satellites. Yeah, I imagine there'd be some satellites there previously before the fall happened, and they won't be able to launch any new ones.
Yeah, so the minute those satellites fall out of fucking orbit, it's like, damn, there goes that fucking stuff. They're going to need to build their own space program to basically restore any sort of satellite use. But right now they have other dire concerns, and so that's probably not a major one. They could set up underwater lines connecting the various islands together for communication. Or maybe they use just the sort of Vox-based technology, and like they've got radio centers or whatever that have the ability to broadcast information back and forth easily enough. Maybe they don't need direct lines, because that's a lot of seabed floor. And if there's any sort of like sharks like there is in Australia that nom on the fucking cord, I'd imagine that'd be not only a dangerous job, but another annoyance for them.
Resource intensive.
Yeah. All hail Arith, the king, and King Franklin. That's terrible, Credle. Thank you for the donation. We're not even to current 40k lore. And actually, that's before... This is before they're even introduced to the Imperium. And then quarantined. Think about that. They're like, oh, we survived all these hardships, and then the Imperium finds them like, ew, quarantine that. Quarantine that. Like, what the fuck?
Take one look, and it's like, the fuck is this?
These things look retarded. What happened to their ears? What happened to them? But appreciate the donation, Credle. And make it one of the mega inbred cat girl fetish. What is with you and your inbred fetish? We're not turning this into a fetishist thing. It's going to be relatively sensible. But there's going to be bad stuff that's going to happen. But we don't need it to happen yet. Under his leadership, the world saw the energy crisis, blah, 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 fend off catastrophe. For now. Just be all fucking foreboding. Oh, it's retarded. Okay, so.
It is.
Under their leadership, they were able to fend that off. That's good, that's good. We can actually make characters, actually. You know what? That'd be a good time to show that off. I could actually do something with that. So we could have timeline. So we'll go over to do is we'll do a character, right? We'll poof one into existence. Grand Admiral? Okay. 40k names. Constantine. Thinking Latin. Wait, no, would they be Latin? Wasn't that like the Imperium's Gothic thing that they actually switched to Latin? The Golden Age, would they necessarily be Latin?
I honestly don't think so.
Maybe they'd be more like us because they were just sort of a continuation of us. So maybe it'd be just like fucking Frank. Frank what? Frank James? That's terrible. Frank Hamler.
Probably something more Irish, so like maybe Frank McDaniel or something like that.
McDaniel. Okay, sure. Irish. Then Logar came. Don't worry about it. Okay, so he's obviously human. Humansky. And would the standard religions exist? Yes. So you'd be Catholic, right? That's Irish, right?
Not up on my Catholic Irish stuff, so yeah. No.
Occupation. He was the Admiral. He's a man. Non-binary. I'm just kidding. It's terrible.
You did say he had a son, so I mean.
I'm just fucking with you. Okay, Frank McDaniel. And then we could actually link him to the timeline. Boof. Look at that. So Frank McDaniel. Actually, would he be alive at this point? Oh, he'd be fucking old. He'd be fucking old. Assuming he's only in his 20s, he'd be pretty fucking crusty by the time that happened. Okay. That's actually a little bit of a plot hole. Or no, would Golden Age humans live longer?
Considering they had a lot of technology, I would honestly imagine some of them would be medical.
Oh, whoops, did I not update that? Okay, add him, save that. Yeah, we'll say that their longevity is increased by maybe 110, 120. So they live a fairly long time, but maybe that their lifespan will start to decline as time goes on because they won't have access to the advanced medical technology or facilities. Because most of it was probably imported equipment and items. And some of it's probably stuff that will become a sort of form of lost technology. Because not everything they'll be able to have people that remember or know. Okay, I do like how...
Yeah, or even if they know, they may not have the resources to make it.
I like how this timeline's actually fairly linear. We don't have to make too many splits, which is good, because I'd probably kill myself if there was too many. Okay, so we could have another thing. The consolidation. So, this is when shit starts to get a little bit awry. let's see. So 2000. No, wait. 2100. Or no. We'll go from where it was last. 2000 to maybe 200 years. Or no, it would probably be very short, within the span of like 5 years or something like that, in which that the civil strife happens, where the various nations break up, or islands break up and gain their independence from the overarching rulers or whatever. So we'll say 20,050. No, 05, I mean. There we go. So 5 years, you know, the second collapse, because it technically is. The second collapse takes place. The various governors, seeing an opportunity, as one of the descendants, or maybe there are no. Oh, I like this. I like this. See an opportunity as the Grand Admiral at the time. We'll just be very vague with this. Dies in some sort of accident. What does he die in? He dies. And maybe we could allude to it like it was actually not an accident. It was like, oh, it actually, like he blew up. And it dies in a fishing accident.
Well known the Admiral hated fishing, yet he died in one.
Okay, he dies in a fishing accident. Oh, no, I like that. Despite it.
If that's the case, you should actually just put fishing accident in quotes.
Fishing. Oh, God. Accident. The governors dissolve the provincial declaring independence and forming various island nation states. There. They've now been divided because they assassinated someone of their own. This cat girl's origins. Oh, nice. We lost Fairbear, poor guy. He won't be making it. Okay, off screen. Technically, we could actually use this to say that this happened, and Carlos McConnell. Fucking hate that name. All this actually happens there.
It's true.
Location, see? So you can kind of tie things together. Because it's one line, I don't actually have to worry about making multiple arrows. See, when I was working on my game plot, like, it goes fucking all over the place with different various arcs and characters and stuff. And so it's always very good to use these dots, these lines, and arrows to signify different things. But for this, it's really just a timeline about this faction, right? So, 21,005, they fucking break apart. Now we've got, you know, various island nation states, and probably it's going to remain that way for a long time. Until something happens that's a pretty big deal. There would be probably various wars, so we'll have to sum it up in an age. We'll call it like a age of whatever. What would it be called? An age for them. What would they refer to it as? An age of war? No, it wouldn't be an age of war. There'd be some islands that would probably have territorial grievances with one another. And there'd be a lot of naval warfare. A lot of flotillas.
Maybe more along the lines of fighting over like fishing territories rather than actual territory.
I knew it. They're cat people already, fighting over fish. Fighting over exotic fish. I mean, that's a fucking big ocean. Maybe it's a tiny planet, though. Okay, so yeah, we'll just say it like the age of fish. No, that's too stupid. We need to be a little bit more fun with this. Oil would be still a big deal. In fact, it would be a bigger deal now than ever.
The resource wars?
They would have a resource war. Basically, it's their equivalent of a world war.
Yeah, kind of a dumb name, but I mean, it sums it up.
Well, no, it's really what it is. The various as they expand, as the various nation states expand and their populaces swell, the desire and need for greater and greater resources begins to wear upon them. This eventually leads to
Freudian slip.
what would it be? Leads to not like various conflicting claims.
Border friction.
Claims, i.e. border friction, eventually being sparked when when ships begin firing upon one another. And it could have been something like, they fired a warning shot, the port bow, and, but the warning shot fucking struck the ship, and so the other ships returned fire, and, these ships just began bapping each other. And I'd imagine they'd have a decent, I imagine the two main things would be or three main branches of military on this world would be naval, air, and marine. And then you'd have your local defense forces. So 4 branches. That actually can be put into the factional lore, actually. We will actually have to add that. Okay, actually that's really good. We should add that now. Oops, I forgot to do the timeline. The resource war could probably last a long time, and then eventually the victor of this war will reign supreme again. But this will probably last for, we'll say, 400 years. Because, they gotta build ships and they're booping each other. Not to mention sieging islands might be very difficult, as they'd probably be very well entrenched on these islands.
Yeah, probably. Another question I would have is, would anything have happened to their Promethean-based ships?
Whoever had probably the biggest Promethean flotilla and still reserves of Prometheum, or if they started being able to harvest Prometheum, would probably have a distinct advantage over the crude oil ship. So yeah, no, we could actually expand on this war. In fact, this is actually kind of cool. We're actually going to expand on the war, period. And we'll just say that it begins in 21,000, or no. We'll say that basically they had maybe okay, so people are fucking viciously, right? They're making more people. That requires more resources, and that probably would take a few generations for the population to build up big enough that they'd need that to happen. So we'll say about, that's a long time actually, I was thinking 1,500 years. So we'll make it 22,000. Yes, I like that. So they had time to build up. They have time to build up their own private militaries. They have time to build up their own industry capacities. Time to form into something from these, various states. To gain various levels of autonomy, or maybe form alliances and maybe even merge together. Some islands formed, archipelago nations, things like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, so all right, so 2,500 is when the resource war takes place. It's actually an off-screen thing. Boop. Minor off-screen, and we can actually write some country lore. Wheel, guys, wheel. They're like wheel. All right. View Encyclopedia World. This is one thing I wish they'd add. Various timeline maps. You can technically do that, but we're just going to kind of summarize something here. One thing that I wanted to sort of expand. This would be a great place to actually start just making various nations. Fuck it. We'll do it. This is the resource war period. We're pulling up the map and we're going to start coloring little things. So, this will be one country, right? We're going to just make some up or whatever. And then we'll add a layer. Throw in some transparency so it's a little see-through. Boop. to signify that this region is theirs. Right? So they'd probably form into their own little state because there's such close proximity. Yeah, that's going to be looking weird. That should look fine. It's a little difficult to see. Pop it into orange. Okay. I like that. And then maybe this one's like an independent. I like the idea of that. And flesh out these little countries. Actually, we can have this be one of these factions subscribes to Chaos and does some stupid shit. Yes. Yes!
Oh yeah, one of the ones that are off by themselves. Yeah.
These fuckers!
They're too far. They're too far away to any of the major nations to receive any major form of support, so they have to turn elsewhere for it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're fucking evil cunts. This is basically Russia. That's what my mind was telling me. And this can be what kind of color will pop nicely? Sort of like a dark purple. Actually, I'm gonna make them a little bit bigger bubbles. Ooh, that's not gonna. Fuck! I didn't think that through. All right, whatever. So you can kind of get a feel for it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 nation states that we need to develop. Not really how you can make nations. You can do it various ways by doing migratory patterns, things like that. What's up?
What about the one at the top?
That's like fucking icy shit, man. I don't think anybody lives there.
You decided to label it as land, so I was just.
Well, no, I was just saying that land comes through there because it probably does in the north there, maybe. And I like the idea of that I get shell and the ice just sort of pushes down. Ah! Okie dokie. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's export this map. Then we can make various nation states and their cultures. They've had thousands of years to develop cultures. Yay! That means they'll all be different and unique. I like the idea of these guys being fucking evil, but they're so far fucking away, like, well, how would they matter? That's something we could make up. Maybe they had some Prometheum ships. Maybe they fucking made some. That could be their thing. I like how Prometheum ships have become this thing that's, like, valuable. And I'm imagining these Prometheum ships were actually just, like, fucking, like, fishing cargo ship things that they just put guns on.
Fishing trawlers.
They just got little turrets mounted on them, but they're also super powerful. Because they go so fast, or they're made out of, like, some pretty good materials. What about the culture of the planet? Do they have a particular custom and laws? How would they worship the Emperor? James Garrett, we have to... They don't even know about the Emperor yet. These poor little savages haven't been enlightened. The Emperor has yet to rediscover this little planet. I'd say in 29,000 we're going to mark that as their rediscovery, because I think they should be sanctioned by the Emperor, because if they're not, I think that the later humans might just have them fucking shot. Oh, God. All right, so we have one. Okay, so I'm thinking, we can take Russian culture and throw it there, but we could be a little bit creative with this, but we're not going to take too much time with this, so we're going to use basic cultural roots and be like, okay, Latin culture, this culture, that culture, who, what, where, what feels good, what feels bad. Maybe these guys are more like a little Roman Republic thing, and this is like Carthago. You don't know. And these are fucking the little barbarians, the Seleucids, the Macedonians, you know? Various things. Each would have their own culture by this point. So this is a good time to flesh that out. Okay, so export as PNG. The resource war map. There. Excellent. This is handy dandy. Okay, so we're going to add another thing here. No. Bad. Ooh. Doesn't like me clicking on that. It's okay, I don't like you too. So, we will go to fucking planet. Yes, because this doesn't have anything. We will... Can I edit the name in here, though? Because that would be nice. Delete location. Can I do that? What happens if I do that? Nothing happened. In fact, I'm wondering if it just deleted something over here. How do I delete this? Import, export, unpin location for map, pin pre-existing, set map image, add maps, delete map. Okay, delete map. Poof. Ah, okay, let's clean this the fuck up, because this is a fucking mess. Okay, that can stay. That can stay. That can stay. These two things are going straight to hell. All right. Goodbye, little Mapu. Pew. Delete Mapus. There we go. One new map we can add is Resource War Era. It's now become its own little era. Cute. This is going to be where they really come to be into a thing. Planet could no longer be quarantined for political reasons. Let's see. Add. What do we do? What do we do? Oh, no. We do the map. Add map, right? No. Set map image. Yes. All right, so we're going to go 2,000 pixels and see if that's better, because I kind of want this bigger. Please be big enough. That's better. It's bigger. Okay, so we got a big map here. So let's make some countries. Fun stuff now. Country. How do I make countries again? That's the thing I forget again. Add map. Add locations. Fuck it. It's always locations. Country. Link to map. The planet. Colors. Fucking crimson-y. I don't know. We'll come up with their symbols in a bit. I'm just going to start putting them down. Field. Okay. Nation 1. We'll give them names and stuff. Now, their language would be relatively unified, honestly.
Yeah, considering they all came from the same background, yeah, I would imagine so.
But culturally, they vary.
Or I would probably say different dialects at the very least.
Yes, no. By this point, dialects are starting to develop, and they're starting to push in their own separate directions, but they can kind of still understand each other, which kind of makes it a little bit, more difficult to kill one another. But at the same time, not so bad, because when most of the warfare is at sea, until it gets to the islands, you don't have to worry about talking to your enemy, hearing them. Nation 2. We'll come back to these in a sec. Wait, is that a universe? Motherfucker! Alright, so now that I'm mad... I know what you are. You think you're a galaxy, okay? You're literally the smallest nation. You can't be a galaxy. I'm sorry. Or universe. Fuck! They identify as the universe. These guys are crazy, okay? I have it. This fucking island is batshit right here. They're just fucking nutty.
Are you saying that's this world's equivalent of Australia? That's where they sent all their prisoners to?
Yes, that's why it's one island. I don't imagine there'll be much threat in the war. In fact, I think they'll just fucking be like, yeah, we just surrender, fuck it. We don't want to deal with it.
No, or if anyone approaches, they just shake their sticks at them. It's like, don't go there. There's nothing of value there.
Nothing of value has been found. Where did it go? N4. Why are you so tiny? Why are you just... What the fuck is wrong with you? He's like, I'm just a small little symbol. Help me. Just N. Okay, country. No. There we go. Country. Must have maybe accidentally. Nation. Was this 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. There's 5 countries that developed on this planet. It's not too terrible. These guys have a lot of land mass. Jesus.
As the one in the upper right part of Russia.
No, they're independent. Part of Russia. It's just because I said it once, it stuck, didn't it? Now we're gonna have to make them Russians, yeah, basically. Like, it's the Russian that goes like, it's me, Rostovsky. Yeah, I'll do it.
Instead of it's nya.
Okay, maybe they would start developing weird traits. What would help with the nighttime vision for their eyes? We could say that the planet's fairly far away from the sun. No, it'd have to be not too far away, otherwise it'd be a problem.
Yeah, it has to be in the Goldilocks zone for that.
Maybe they're orbiting like a gas giant or something. And so, God, that would fuck with the oceans. That would fuck with them quite a bit. But maybe not only orbiting like maybe a larger celestial body, which would fuck with the oceans. I can't stress how much that would fuck with the oceans. Basically, they're a moon. And basically, they're in shadow more. Longer now. Because they do a lot of underwater operations, but they don't necessarily have contact with it, they won't evolve to have really any sort of adaptations for water, except for their eyes would be better naturally adjusted for dark.
I mean, you explain the eyes. Now you need the ears.
It's not really how that works, but just shrugging over here. And maybe there's some sort of warp influence going on that sort of helped that happen. There's my Deus Ex Machina. Fuck you. I'm gonna use it. All right, Nation 6. Nation number 7. Nation number 7, you're gonna be our Chaos Nation. Why? Because we need you to help them turn into goddamn cat girls. Because it's really hard to make up how the fuck that happened.
You did kind of choose a terrible planet type to encourage it.
I wanted to do the Oceanic purely because I just kind of wanted to do an Oceanic world. It's a universe! They're also delusional. Stop that. Just a country. Also, what are you? You think you're something special? No, I'm a country, but I'm retarded. Fucking retards. Oh, whoops. That's why it's like that. There, fixed it. Ta-da! Nation 1, 2, 3, and... they're fucking... I didn't fix them! What the fuck? Wait, no? What? Okay, they're just a big circle. They're like, fuck you. You're square. I don't know why you're square. I don't know why you're... I don't understand. Is this for a campaign or something? No. This is actually, we're going through the process of creative writing, but we're using Campfire to do it. Okay, so resource war, races, ethnicities, maybe they're black or something, I don't know. That doesn't really matter, though, because skin color just doesn't matter in this planet. They wouldn't have that problem.
If they're going to turn into Felonids, I would imagine it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so culture, they'll have roots, right? So when they migrated from the greater empire of man, they came from various backgrounds. And we're going to use Terra's, more rudimentary, so maybe the fucking green one will be Slavic, so they'll be fucking retarded. This one will be, maybe European-based cultures. And we'll explore them more in a second here. Okay, that one's European-based, so we can feel them out. This one will be Eastern European, Russian, basically. Isn't that funny? West, East, that just turned out the same. I actually don't like that. I normally, when I design stuff, I like to mix it up a little bit more. But, it's whatever.
And then you could have that southern nation beneath them be England or something like that.
I like the idea of this one being Anglo. As Anglo culture. Actually, no. If we're going to go Anglo, then we're going to need to be more specific. So this is going to have...
That's why I specifically said English.
This will have... fuck it. I have an idea for that one. I just smiled. This one will actually... Fuck it. You know what? I like the idea of it. It'll have Korean-based culture. Korean... No. Japanese, not just for the popularization, but we'll also mix in Korean... We'll mix in Sino, and we'll mix in basically Southeastern Asian. I like the idea of just mixing them all together to make some sort of weird bastardization. This one will be, because it's funny, we'll just fucking, it'll be Australia. Australia's a culture. That's just not, it's not a culture, it's a disease. Australia. Oh, they're tied to the fucking Anglo. That makes sense. Like, they're like, ew. Okay, this nation here will be... What culture works? What do I like? What do we like? They'll be... You know what? They'll be Hindu and Asian. It's more like a religion, but fuck it. Hinduish. Nah. Yeah. Could be cool. Hindu culture. It's more like a religion, but I'm using that. Indian.
Canadian.
Okay, I like that. Wait, aren't that part of the same fucking thing? They are. What are you? What? Ah! I think I fucked up the numbers slightly. There's only 6 nations. Sorry, but you're gonna have to die. You cease being independent starting now. And then I gotta fix you. You're actually number 6. And you're gonna be Scandinavian, just to fuck with people. Scandinavian roots. We will elaborate, but we're kind of feeling them out now. This one will be Hindu and Indian. Yep. Okay, good. Okay, so we've got Sino-Japanese, sort of bastardization of Asian cultures here. We've got Australia. We've got Britannia, basically here, Anglo. And we've got Scandinavia, Eastern Europeans. Let's get more specific here. Russo, you know, more vibes like that. Maybe some Slavic mixture. Even though that's kind of like the same, but you get the you get the point. I like triggering people. All right. What else can we do? Okay, time to start going to specifics. Let's start with the Hindu one, shall we? Hindu time. Okay, so races, ethnicities. Because the people would migrate apart, we'll say that, you know, there wasn't just one standard human-ish race that came. It was sort of just a culmination of people, settlers, who were looking for, you know, work or whatever, and, you know, they just had to spread out across. So we'll have various races, but they'll be also kind of intermixed in some areas because they came as a group, and so they kind of wouldn't really split apart too much, but there'd definitely be cultural dominances. That's what I do think, for sure, as well as religious dominances. And we should stick with the old ways of Terra, because that way they'd have religions like those. Races. Okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
What would they have? They'd have Indian, right? And I'm talking about real Indian, not American Indian. Dot, not feather. Fuck, I'm just going to specify that. So people know. Indian dot, that's the one I want. That's what I want here. And then we want, okay, that's the primary race, right? They're going to be the most dominant. Primary, we'll even go and categorize it. So they'll be mixed because, you know, they kind of spread out, but some people were like, yeah, no, I kind of like this culture set. And I'm talking about, like, not the British Commonwealth bastardization of India. We're talking about, like, the Indian culture unmolested, sort of. So it's a little bit more functional-ish than it is now. We're just kind of like, it's a little bit wibbly-wobbly. And yet, okay, dominant religions. What would definitely be dominant? Well, we'd obviously have Hinduism, right? That's...
Yeah.
Hinduism, followed by probably Catholicism of some sort as a more minor, maybe. What other religions? What kind of religions came here? Hinduism, Catholicism, maybe Shinto or not Shinto? What's the word? Taoism? No. What's the word for Japan? Confucianism? No, it's China.
Taoism?
Taoism, isn't it?
Taoism?
Is that what Japan's religion is?
I don't know.
Fucking forget the word. Ugh, they're gonna have it. Not these guys.
Wirewolf says Sikh. I think that's a Muslim one.
Shinto, yes. Thank you. Would Shintoism be over here? Okay, let's think. They colonized. I mean, it would be, but it wouldn't be in great numbers, so it'll be a minority. So they're not going to have it. So you're going to have Shinto in your religions. Shinto, probably primary, definitely. Shinto, maybe they'd have even Hinduism, actually. And Catholicism a little bit because they have border friction. Catholicism, and then Orthodoxy will be kind of over there. Okay, I like that. Okay, primary over here would be a sort of a mixture of all the ones, because they'd have friction, people would be coming in and out, and so there would definitely be churches. And religion's not going to be the start of this war, and so they're not going to really care too much about religion in this war. So Catholicism, primary. Shintoism, I'd say, would be the secondary. And Hinduism, bastardization of these words, will work for now. Isms, because I like isms, fuck it. All right. So it'd get a little bit of friction from all those guys. Orthodoxy, we'll say it just kind of sort of stayed here as a primary. So Orthodox, Christianity, or Christian, followed by Hinduism, because it would definitely bleed in there. And like maybe, I don't know, more, I wouldn't say Shintoism would bleed in, but Catholicism. Or no, they'd probably tolerate the Catholicism more.
Yeah.
Than they would the Shintoists or the Hinduists. So they'd kind of be like actually get their own little sub bracket because they're kind of shunned a little bit over there. A little bit of suppression going on. Scandinavian, Protestant maybe, Protestant Catholic, right? Maybe. Or no. Wait, we want some funky stuff to happen here. We want some funky stuff. You know what? We had some fucking retarded people who are pagans going here. Oh shit. Oh shit. No.
I'm just imagining fucking cat people just yelling for Thor.
See, there's not going to be that many religions that bled over here because it's all about who came here. And not that many people settled here originally. So it was a sparsely populated world, but it had enough people so that the genetic pool wouldn't have any problems, with fucking weird shit going on. They had a diverse enough genetic pool to dip into. Religions. Okay, we'll say that they got some Orthodoxy bleed over. Orthodoxy, Catholicism. And we'll say that they... experimentalism. Maybe we'll call it like that. Because they need to be like, the guys who are going to spark off chaos. Yeah, it's a little bit way too foreboding. It's like, what? 40k experimentalism? That sounds fucking heretical already. But it's fine. Honestly, don't think we'll have the warp thing be too much. Okay, so we've kind of got a feel for it. We got the various religions. Oh, we forgot about you. You're going to have all sorts of fucking shit. So basically, yeah, I like the idea that this place was a dumping ground for people who are rejects of society, more or less. So we'll have everything here, even the experimentalists. We're going to call it experimentalists because we don't have really quite a word yet for it. So Catholicism. My brain stopped working. Catholicism. Ah! No! I forgot how words worked. I think I already forgot a while ago. Orthodoxy. And these will be the dominant religions. Would there be Islam? I'd imagine. Would there be atheism? I'd imagine too. But I'd imagine they'd be minority at this point. Why would they be a minority, you ask? Honestly, I'd imagine they'd go into a more religious phase.
Wasn't the
a more spiritual phase.
Age of like science rather than religion?
Would it be? No, because Terra had Christianity on it way back when the Emperor did the thing, when he united Terra under him. So no, there were still religions.
Oh no, not that there weren't religions, but it was like atheism was not uncommon.
I'd imagine atheism would become depopularized in this society or in this planet, and I imagine that would stem from the fact that people need hope at this point. They need something to believe in, whether it's false or real or not. And because of that, I'd imagine a lot of people lost their faith, and a lot of people gained faith as well. Atheism as a major religion, or a major thing? No. Why don't I want to do it? Because atheism is boring to write. It is. It is actually the most boring thing to write. And religions are good to play on. Orthodoxy, Shintoism, Hinduism. Because we can have some friction here. There's a lot of friction we can have. And religions play a good way in sort of influencing culture. Atheism is kind of like this thing that's just kind of like a tasteless gray thing that just sort of moves. It's like, eeh. Not saying that it's bad in actuality. I don't really care. Myself, I don't believe in religion at all either. But I don't enjoy writing atheism, so I'm generally write something I'm going to enjoy. And I kind of like religions because it adds a lot more flavor, in my opinion.
Yeah, it makes people be willing to do more things for it.
Protestants. In fact, I'm going to have to readjust where the Protestants would be. I imagine there would be some Protestantism in here. Okay. Catholicism, Orthodoxy, Shintoism, Hinduism, Protestant. What am I missing? Catholicism? No. We're missing something.
Experimentalist.
Experimentalist. These people, the experimentalists, were the atheists. Yes, I like this. Why? I don't know. Fuck it.
Why did they change the name from atheist to experimentalist? Who the fuck knows? They're crazy.
No, that's not them. If you take out religion, something else will assume its place. Social justice, ethno-nationalism, etc. Now that's true. Humans innately, like I believe this as somebody who looks at humanity and cultures and society and history. One thing that humans have in common that we do is we always have something that we grasp to. Atheism is just another form of religion. Doesn't matter. Whatever. Everybody subscribes to something. I subscribe to the fact that if I die, it'd be nice if there's something there. If there's nothing there, well, poop. I won't care. I'll be dead. But if there's something there, hell yeah, man, that'll be great. If not, if it turns out God's kind of like, hey, you didn't believe in me. Fuck you. I'm like, how was I supposed to know as I'm sent down burning to hell? Like, come on, man, this is gay. This is gay. I'm probably going to say this is gay as I fucking descend into hell. Because I'm going to be actually upset because I'm going to suffer for all eternity. Like, what? I made the wrong decision? What the fuck? Come on, forgiveness and shit. Forgiveness. What the fuck, man? I'll be like, I honestly hope, there is an afterlife, because that'd be great. Like, I could probably fucking play games all day. Or wait, what would you do in the afterlife? Fuck, what if it's boring? That suck. It's eternalness of nothingness. God's like purgatory. What is there to do? Like, God, do they even have Xbox Live up there, guys? What do you mean I can't afford it? Gotta get a job.
You have to do imaginary labor.
Okay, time to start naming these states. I think Japanese word Shintoism. Arigato. It's called arigato. It's like, thank you. Fuck, what? Thank you, ships are firing on us, sir. Oh, I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Thanks for bombarding me, you cunt. No. We'll call this... I'm going to start making up words. Let's think of some vowels and shit. The shogunate. Yes! The shogunate of... Yes. These islands will be referred to as the Caledora Islands. The archipelago of Caledora. Archipelago of Caledora. The shogunate of Caledora. I like that. It pops. Poop. God, their abbreviation. TSOC.
It's dumb.
What's cancerous? The Emirates of Emu Land. We need Islam now so we can make that. No. There's no emus on this planet. So that wouldn't work.
Maybe they remember them.
They think fondly of the emu. So a lot of the colonists that were here were directly from Terra. That'd be weird. It's like they went all the way.
They heard tales of the great emus who somehow managed to battle man and win.
They're like, oh, we will be the emu warriors. They fucking get slaughtered in one day. They dressed up like birds. No. They need to be something realistic. They'll be the Commonwealth. No, I kind of want to save that name for the other guys. They'll be... Yes. It's retarded, but they're kind of a stupid nation anyways. Gay. Gay Greater Australia. Oh, I'm just going to move the names so they're not quite overlapping the islands themselves. Okay. Or the Commonwealth. No, we're not going to do the Commonwealth. We already did the. We want to mix it up. Boring word that's used way too much. COA. Nice abbreviation. Commonwealth of Arcadia. Hindu governmental forms. What the fuck are Hindu governmental things? Ooh. Dominion of Callus. Well, I like the word Dominion, but I don't like Callus, because it makes me think of, like, the fucking things on my foot. The little hard spots. What to put? Dominion of India. No, Dominion of Indian word. Insert Indian phraseology. Insert word that sounds Indian, for fuck's sake. Raj? No, that already existed.
Radistan, I don't know.
Radistan. That's terrible. That's absolutely cancerous. Door. Oh, I have cancer. Help. Not Russia is what we'll call this. No. We'll call it the Tsardom. No. Because they have a Tsar. Yes. Tsardom of Vladivostok. Why do I call it Vladivostok? Because I like the word. And it's an actual real city. Stands to reason, where humans go, we rename things after existing things anyways. It's Norway. Sleepy over there. There. We've got nation-state names, guys. We did it. We only had a little bit of a heart attack while doing it. We got the Shogunate of Caledora, which is actually kind of cool sounding. The Greater Australia, which gives me a little bit of Down syndrome. Commonwealth of Arcadia, kind of bland. Dominion of Radistan, I fucking hate that one. The Tsardom of Vladivostok, Norway, just right-click, delete them. Terrible. Okay, so we've got a feel, right? Now we need to start diving off the deep end. This is called world building. This is called, hey, Kibbs, you know how you're just going to stop and make like a little segment about the resource war? And it's like, oh, we got to establish nation states. But what's important about this is the idea is here that this will build into why they turned into cat people. Somehow. We have to make that happen. We have to.
Honestly, the way I was thinking this war started off as a war for resources, but then maybe one of the nations, in a bid to win the war, turns to chaos.
Yeah, they're like, oh,
and then it basically turns into the factions that decide to resist chaos and the sides that choose to embrace it.
I like that. So what the war originally evolves out to be is like they're all kind of fighting each other, and then chaos is introduced, and they're like, fuck. And there's a line that's split down the middle. This follows the fundamental theme in Warhammer as a whole. We're going to go after that theme. I like the idea that it's just really order versus chaos, and it's kind of that thing that just keeps repeating over and over again. And so the war starts off sort of classical, normal, and then it devolves into like everyone picking sides between order or chaos. And what extent should chaos's influence be here? I'd say very minimal. Not because, well, it needs to be, because it needs to be defeated by a bunch of fucking shitty nations. So we have to nerf it. If we don't nerf it, they're going to get their fucking asses kicked. They're just going to get slaughtered. And this world would actually fall to chaos. What?
Yeah, and then maybe the thing that kicks it off is actually the thing that turns everyone on this planet into cat people. And then after they see that, that's when the major line is drawn in the sand between whether or not your nation will stand for or against chaos.
And then basically, eventually, they all mixed in to become cat peoples somehow.
Oh, no. What I was thinking, it's like whatever the first chaos worshipping nation does, they do a ritual or something like that. And everyone on the planet becomes seeded with chaos, and they turn into cat people because of that. And that's the thing that triggers. It's like, well, maybe chaos is a bad thing. And then some nations accept it, others.
These mutations wouldn't stabilize yet. So this is going to get really fucking ugly. because a lot of people are going to start dying of horrible cancers, brain tumors, all sorts of abnormal growths. And so the war will start, and there'll be a lot of fucking mutants battling each other, and a lot of deformities. But yeah, the gene that I think stabilizes is the cat girl, quote unquote, gene. And the idea is that this gene doesn't, it stabilizes. For whatever fucking reason, because we need it to. Fuck you. It stabilizes. Cat girls become dominant species because fuck, I don't know. Something like that.
But I was more thinking along the lines of it's mutated enough from regular that it's like Chaos is like, well, I mean, it's a mutant, but it's still looks human enough. Just a thought.
Human enough, yeah. And then they let certain people live. But honestly, I mean, their hospitals, their medical technology will not be able to keep up with the amount of fucking trauma that people will have from that. And also, what the fuck does that do to the wildlife? Oh my god, giant fucking sea monsters. That's kind of cool. Like maybe like a cool sort of, okay, this is kind of more in the fantastical realm, but maybe like some sort of fish monster thing or people evolve, crab people. And then they have to battle lobster people. Oh my god. That took a turn for the worst. Oh god.
Man, is that you?
I'd say by this point that satellite fell out of the sky by now, so fuck it. I was like, maybe that satellite does something. Like, nah, fuck it. It's in the ocean somewhere, buried underwater. Nobody knows.
Or maybe it's still orbiting, but the platform that people used to communicate with it got destroyed or something like that.
It's just fucking floating around like, help. Help, I'm a little satellite. Warp follows people's emotions. People loved cats, so people became cat people. My god. So there needs to be, okay, so during the Age of Strife, at some point, there was a thinning in the veil between reality and the warp. And for whatever reason, cats were the only animal they brought with, not dogs. And so everybody's like, fuck, well, I hope I don't have a cat allergy, because the only fucking pet I can have is a fish or a goddamn cat. Fish everywhere. There'd be plenty of fish. Oh, God. Yeah, no, that works. Okay, time to go back to the timeline. Fucking kill me. That's actually a sort of spin-off thing, actually, with the timeline. Okay, that's our first alternate arc thing going on. The cat people. The beginnings. Or no, what's it called? The Path of Squeck. The Path of Squeck. Okay, and this will be a split line from the second collapse. Because this will start to happen. Or no, this would actually be factored in also from the colonization point. Because nobody brought cats. Or nobody brought any other animals to like, right? So temporal location doesn't need one. Off-screen miner, blah, blah, blah. Alright, so the Path of Squeck. During the... one of the few animals that was brought with to... Oh, fucking, what's this shit hole of a planet called? Carlos something. Carlos McConnell. Fuck, he killed me. Who wrote that name? Someone beat him. I'd rather have Greater Australia. Carlos McConnell, some fucker's name. Carlos McConnell, you know, one of the few animals. No, might have put beer there. Was a cat. Unfortunately, due to the climate and various horrible fucking parasites, any other Animalia. What? An Amelia, yes. An Amelia that was brought with.
Or maybe you could make it less dumb. It's like, for some weird reason, the regulation said only cats.
Only cats were allowed. Okay, yeah, no, true. Maybe like, I don't know. This is so bad because we have to like shoehorn why do cats are okay? Why not dogs? Why didn't they bring cows? It's like, well, because the regulations founded by a crazy cat lady.
Oh no, I was gonna go with this. This was founded during the golden age of man. Maybe just like the person who probably put money to fund it was really fucking eccentric, and he or she loved cats, and that's the only reason. That's the only animal they allowed you to take with you.
You know what?
It's like,
Maybe in
well,
the golden age they did say corruption was horrible, so that actually makes sense canonically. Unfortunately,
it makes
due
more sense than
to
what you were writing.
the funding of the colony, or no, not that doesn't mean that. The reason for this was that the elites, or the elite, bankrolling colonization of the planets was eccentric, was extremely eccentric.
I was gonna say, are you just gonna leave it at just they were eccentric?
That the only pet that could be brought planet side was a cat. Yeah, it was a crazy fucking eccentric cat lady. It all makes sense. The benefits. The colonists agreed because they saw value in it. Cats were capable of keeping vermin, which were abundant on several of the major islands. We're keeping culling vermin, which were abundant on several of the major islands. So yes, it was an eccentric cat lady that was like, actually no, I like the idea of like a little bit more logic behind this, because yes, okay, see the thing is, when designing cultures, societies, religions, things like that, remember the key rule, the key fact, people are fucking retarded, and they do stupid shit. At one point in humans' history, monarchies were cool. Everybody did it. It's like,
True.
it's not good. It wasn't smart. It was pretty fucking stupid, but we did it. Why? Because we're fucking idiots. There's all sorts of reasons why we did it, and etc. But we do stupid shit all the time. So people should do stupid shit in the universe. The thing is, making it believable. I think the eccentric cat lady thing, a little bit too far, so we're going to actually roll that down, because I do kind of want this to be kind of serious. And we're going to actually go back and clean up Greater Australia. I just can't come up with a fucking name right now. So it's Greater Australia for now. The reason for this was... Okay, no. It was a cat. The colonists agreed... Oh, no. That needs to all be gone. The colonists agreed... No. The colonists imported a large amount of cats, because cats were capable of culling vermin, which were abundant on several of the major islands. Okay, I'm liking that. Cats were also... Oh, hey, look. Somebody actually said something very similar. Valken. Great minds think alike. Wait, was it Valken? Fuck, I just read it. Where did it go? Well, my eyes blurred a little. Oh, no. He said something that is exactly the same. Somebody said something like that. Cats are more self-sufficient. They keep down vermin. Oh, yeah. All the cats were yeeted from Earth. Yeeted. That's terrible. The colonists imported a large amount of cats, because cats were capable of culling vermin, which were abundant on several of the major islands. Okay, we can elaborate on that. The vermin were crabs. Maybe they were crabs. Maybe they're like lobster things, right? And what they would do is they'd crawl into things, and they'd fucking cut shit up with their fucking powerful claws. They could cut up wires and shit in fucking ships and break things. Think of how fucking agitating that would be. And so having cats would make sense. Wait, no, cats couldn't eat that. That fucking crustacean. How does a cat claw? Then you gotta think about that. No, okay, they need to be rats. They can't be crustacean things. I was thinking like fish, water planet. Make it something fishy. Like, no, that doesn't work. Cat fucking paws at it like, die. And then fucking paw gets snipped off.
Super cats.
Super cats. Super kitties. No. No. That's too far on the autism spectrum. It is Warhammer 40k, but we need to keep it
Yeah, not
believable.
at this point. Not at this point in time. Maybe later they could have their super cats, but not now.
The vermin were large rats that were one of the more dominant mammalian creature on the planet. Yeah, they'd be the more dominant because there's tiny islands. There's not a lot of things for big predators, right? Maybe there was like a native thing that ate them, and maybe there wasn't. Maybe they were relatively unmolested, so to speak. Birds. They could have been eaten by bird things. Birds love rats. Big fucking vermin. Big birds. Like eagles or something. The planet. Okay, what did I say? The vermin were large rats on the planets. These pests were notorious for eating wiring and cables in colonies, as well as the various ships. The various ships across the planet. It wasn't until... We can make an event out of it. It wasn't until...
Wait.
What?
These pests were notorious for eating wires and cables, as well as ships?
Oh, they're very hungry. They're very... I didn't think about that. It's colonies.
Yeah, it took me a second. It's like I was processing that sentence. Like, wait a minute, what?
Havoc on ships and on a ship's internal... What is it called? Fucking electrical.
Internal wiring.
Internal wiring. Causing firing and sometimes the loss of entire ships. Because of what? If the fire got out of control. If it was a ship with fuel or something, it just... Promethean burns like a son of a bitch. You can see the problem that these rats caused, or these things. And so importing a large amount... Yes, okay, we need to explain, like... The rat's natural enemy was the giant bird thing that ate them on the islands. We can come back and address what that bird is called, because that bird could be important. That could be like a symbol for one of these nations, right? They could actually have that bird as like as part of their crest of their logo or whatever.
Or maybe it's important enough it even goes on their flag.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the nations could actually have that. So we could revisit that. No, wait. Let's just fucking be more specific. A giant bird that resembled a hawk. I'm not picking an eagle because we don't have... Like, a hawk's a little smaller.
Well, what would be a more appropriate seabird?
What's a seabird predator thing? Well, it just resembles a hawk. It's not necessarily a hawk. It's a seabird. Titus Braxton's like, you could call it catastrophic damage. Honestly, this is the rough draft. We can come back to that and clean that up. What we're trying to do is what is this called? Like, I call this the kind of like mud throwing phase of a story. Where you just throw mud.
Brainstorming.
You're like,
It's
splat, and it's just like, oh, look, that sticks, and you're like, oh, that doesn't. We're brainstorming out the story, and so the entire purpose is to get it plastered out from beginning, middle to end, and then go back and start reworking this. 90% of this stuff is going to be changed because there's stuff wrong with it. It's inconsistent with some of the other stuff. I put in a timeline because we can try to keep some order to it so we don't have too many problems. Path of Squeck. And that's just a meme. The rat's natural enemy was a giant bird that resembled a hawk. We don't need to be any more specific. Unfortunately, however, the colonists couldn't use the bird as it... No. We need to be more specific. Unfortunately, the colonists
maybe
couldn't use couldn't tame the bird, or couldn't use it inside couldn't domesticate. How the colonists couldn't. Or no, they could probably domesticate it. The colonists domesticated it. Or no, that's not how they word that. The colonists at first domesticated the bird. However, birds aren't actually useful inside of buildings or fucking. However, the bird was less effective inside as it was outside, unsurprisingly. This necessitated the need for a different animal. And the animal was a kitty. Meow meow. Why? Because. Why didn't they have more advanced technology to deal with this? Well, because it's a colony, it's early in its stages, not a lot of stuff being sent to it. It's not really high priority, and it's like, Cats. Cats are an easy solution. Plus, cats can offer humans companionship.
Conditionally, but yes.
We've got these great swarms of eagles dropping fucking rats. We gotta bring in the cats. Rhymes. But yeah, no, because how would the bird kill it, right? It would pick it up, raise it high in the sky. Maybe its talons would pierce its flesh, but that's maybe not enough. So it'd drop it.
Or it could just peck the ever-living shit out of it.
It could do that. I mean, it could kill it various ways. A common way that birds kill stuff around here that I've seen, because we have an eagle that lives down the street from me. It just picks up like a little fucking shrew or something and then drops it. And picks it up again and drops it if it's not dead and then fucking eats it. Or takes it back to its nest.
Fair enough.
They used the birds in Greater Australia because they couldn't afford the cats. Damn. And thus the birds became a menace, so they had to go to war with them. So they had to go to war. And lost. Oh no. They were annexed by the birds. Terrible. Okay, I mean, we've given enough fluff as to why the fucking cat became relevant, right? This is a plot line that can be used later on as to why they started to turn into partially kit-based things. Because whatever chaos ritual or something.
If that's the case, and this is related to the colonists first, then shouldn't it be related to earlier in the timeline rather than the second collapse?
Yeah, that's true.
So probably I would honestly say probably the first collapse, because it's relating to when the colony was first founded.
What? No, it's colonization. It'd be before the collapse.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, I was looking at the yeah.
Because it'd be before the Age of Strife.
Yeah, no, I was getting the panels mixed up. That's all.
Age of Strife is this timeline right here. The Golden Age of Man, colonized Carlos, blah, blah, blah. The Resource War. Then we just wanted to stop and expand on the Resource War and fluff it up a bit. Because we want to build up the culture in society now. Because this is going to be close. They're going to sort of maintain the course from here on out.
Yep.
Chaos is so derpy. It's going to be fucking hard to write. It's a weird Deus Ex Machina that makes whatever I want work, but at the same time, I want it to not be derpy sounding, so it's like, we got to use it carefully. Okay, so the Resource War happens, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so we got down the path of Squeak, which is the path where eventually things like Arith can be made. That is the beginning note. That begins that path there. That doesn't matter, though, because that'll happen probably... Well, wouldn't it be connected to the Resource War? Because, no, it'll happen after the Resource War. Because there will be an event that happens, the Rise of Chaos.
Yeah, the Resource War turns into the war against, or the War of Chaos, or whatever you want to call it.
And this can actually be an arc that plays into this. And how did the Rise of Chaos begin, right? Now when you think of tethering that, where did that come from? Where did that come from? Could it have come from something else.
Mm,
We'll leave this unconnected right now. It'll play. It's not going to play into that. Actually, I'm going to disconnect that. I'm going to leave it floating there. Because we need to come up with something as to how it came
I would
about.
argue that if anything, it should take place either during the consolidation or the second collapse.
Yeah, I was thinking of
Because
over here is where it comes
because
into being.
my rationale would be it's like, okay, so the major island chains are going to be obviously protecting their own interests, but the islands that are maybe further out, closer to their borders, don't give as much attention, and so in order to protect themselves, they turn to chaos as a form of protection.
Yep. Or they turn to powers that can give them what they don't have. Which is actually kind of why, on a more serious note, yes, we're being kind of silly, but I'm actually taking it slightly serious. Is if we go back to world. This is weird how this organizes. I like this. This is gonna be weird. This new update is gonna change a lot about when I'm working on my game, though. So I'm gonna have to look at this and see what it changes. If it breaks anything, I'll be fucking sad because I put so much work into that. All right, so let's see. Maps. All right, resource war era. Back to here. Oh, that blue. I missed my eyes stinging a little. There, nice. Ah, I can feel the blood. All right. So
Look, the pain helps you know that you're alive.
I was thinking of Norway when we give it a name, proper one. It is the nation where it'll originate from, and then through it, people migrating here, or I mean, people will migrate everywhere, will begin to sow the seeds of that within. But it'll emanate from here. And it'll emanate from here because people probably wouldn't look at this nation as a particular threat, as its interests seem pretty cut off, and it probably just, trades for most of its resources, via exports of whatever.
Yep.
We do have to come up with the major resources for each nation. Everyone wants oil, and that will be the cause of this war. Oil will be the big pusher. Because petroleum, plastics, things like that, people are going to want it. So the relative populations, I'm thinking, is okay. So we'll say that when the planet was first, colonized, maybe there's like a few million people, maybe like 30 million, something like that. And then during the problem, like they lost a few people, by few, maybe a million died, something like that. It went up and down.
Say a few. Wow.
A few, a million to billion, whatever. I'd say maybe the population's total population at this point is in the hundreds of millions, if not a single billion. That's fair. It's populated, but it's not too populated. So the war will be big, but it won't be like this massive sprawling thing. Casualties will be fairly small, and engagements will be limited to naval, really. It'll be when chaos starts to erupt. And because chaos can only use what's really already existing, except if it summons any demons, so I imagine most nations will unify against it because we need numerical superiority to counter the fact that they're fucking fighting potentially some demons. How many make manifestation? Probably not many. If we make too many make manifestation, they're going to get their fucking asses kicked.
Maybe instead of proper manifestations, maybe possessed people.
Possessions, yeah. No, it's more minor, yeah. If we have it as a major infestation of chaos, like, these people will not survive. These people are so fucked.
Then maybe a few Promethean trawlers would be willingly sacrificed to blow up whatever place had them.
Pretty much. Okay, so let's think here. Okay, Commonwealth of Arcadia. What direction to push next? Greater Australia. Fuck it. Thinking of names later. This might be a multi-part series in which we build this, because this is kind of silly as it is, but we're kind of feeling it out, really. And I like this point. Just trying to think of where to push it next. Or what to really expand on. So actually we need to expand on the cultures, right? Okay, that's one thing. Races, I'm not going to really worry about that. We're going to say that's fairly mixed. Okay, that's about the Is there any statistics? Statistics of what? Was statistics you want, boy? Archipelago would be the geography of all of them. What would the major resources be of here? Actually, let's focus more on the culture. So, men, women, children, things like that. As well as things like, I'm trying to remember how I do it. So how are men, women, children treated? What government? That's true. We got to expand on that. So it's a commonwealth. All right, commonwealth under who? Right? A nobility? A parliament? It's a parliamentary government. How about that?
Nah, it's from the Anglosphere, so makes sense.
Parliamentary government, Anglo culture base, might take parliamentary government. Okay, so organization of government. What would their chief leader be called? Not maybe the prime minister, maybe something else. Like, yeah, it's parliament, but let's think of something more creative.
Well,
Chief
I mean,
chairman or
considering that
chairman, maybe?
I was thinking maybe trying to tie it back to the first Grand Admiral.
Yeah, the Grand Admiralty Board. No. The parliamentary government. It's a parliamentary government, the Admiralty. The Admiralty will be a political branch in this one. The Admiralty, right? The Grand Admiral. This nation will actually be one of the original nations that sort of follow that. Grand Admiral is the chief administrator. The Admiralty Board is, the admirals underneath. We'll explain that. Underneath the Admiralty Board would be the governors, like the old government. And then you'd have local populaces, things like that. So governors would be in charge of each island. Yes, because they had various island states. Okay. We're getting that felt out. The Grand Admiral is the supreme leader of the nation. Easy explanation. The Admiralty Board is made up of the various admirals, second only to the Grand Admiral, as their authority supersedes that of the governors in times of crisis or emergency. Okay, liking that. What else do they do? They act as the Grand Admiral's chief advisors, as well as command the various flotillas of his navies. How is the Grand Admiral chosen? The Grand Admiral is selected by the Grand Admiral. He chooses his successor. The Grand Admiral chooses his successor from the Admiralty Board.
Yeah, I was going to say, considering this is kind of more of a parliamentary thing, maybe it would be that the
Maybe we would
Admiralty
move
Board, it's like, here's your picks. And then from those picks, the Grand Admiral can pick from those pre-selected candidates who will succeed him.
Or no, yeah, maybe the Admiralty Board isn't up for grabs, because if that is, then there'd be more corruption. So to negate the amount of corruption that they would experience, they would work it around and be like, okay, so the Admiralty Board can sign people who... No, because then they'd be proxies. That would happen. I mean, you're going to have some corruption. That's always going to bleed in. I'd say the Admiralty Board is a direct line of succession. Governors are selected by votes. They're actually fairly democratic. Governors are voted, are the chosen or elected representatives to run the various islands underneath the archipelago nation. When I plunk this into fucking Microsoft Word, there's going to be so many grammatical fixes that need to be made. Oh, good God.
You'll deal with that when you deal with it.
So the governors, okay. Supreme leader of the nation. So technically, this is like the military arm. So they'd still have the governors also. Okay, so the governors could do another thing. The governors basically form the civilian branch of the government. Okay, fair enough. Anyone under that really matters, government-wise or administrative personnel. I can't think of anything particular because these nations are actually relatively tiny.
Yeah, I honestly see no reason to have any more. Honestly, I think even the Admiralty board is fine, but yeah, any bigger apparatus would not be justified.
Well, I mean, you could
At
have a
least in
bigger
my mind.
apparatus, but what would happen the bigger the apparatus is the fucking corruption and bureaucratic nightmare would skyrocket. And that could be like
That's
a
what I mean.
fault for one of these nations. But I don't think they would have formed that purely because this nation in particular is sticking to the doctrines of the old Admiral. Because its government's already structured much like the original provisional government.
Oh, then here's
That
a
could be
question: if this
history.
is based off the original government, is this where the
What was that?
was headquartered, or if this nation, the Commonwealth, was the government structure is still based off what the original Grand Admiral put in place? Is this where the original Grand Admiral was headquartered?
Yeah, probably. So he'd be like okay, so history of Arcadia, right? The Commonwealth of Arcadia. Was the provincial, or no, was the world... Oh, we actually have to name, like, cities at that point. Oh, in terms of your question, Skull, so what about the mayors of the settlements? Well, they would be a thing, but they would have no real administrative power, more or less. The governors would actually be able to micromanage a fair bit because of how tiny these islands are. And they would have to be very nitpicky because resources are constraints. There would be relatively small local leaders and stuff like that. But the only thing we're really worrying about right now is the big, like, head honchos of government, right? The guys who are big deals, so to speak. The nation's actually fairly tiny. It doesn't have a lot of land. That nation's kind of big. Might be a threat. Alright, so, just because it has landmass doesn't mean it's all usable, though. Could be fucking very unusable. Oh yeah, no. You're not wrong, Skullthrone, but if we don't want to dilly-dally too much into the little bits, normally what I do is I plaster stuff down, but I try to stay fairly loose, and then we work ourselves around. So, from the Commonwealth of Arcadia, we'll go right, we'll go north, and then we'll head back over here, head back, aka west, or east, southeast-ish, and then we'll head south, back to GA, and then we'll come back, rework Commonwealth of Arcadia, and run the circuit again until they're felt out and they're worked out into shapes that fit. And then what we'll do is we'll also establish the relationship between them. You know, what are their opinions of each other? Some might be more favorable, some would be, less favorable, distasteful, depending on the background. Honestly, a lot of people are probably not going to like the Commonwealth of Arcadia because it is the original government. So there'd probably be a lot of friction with that. And vice versa. They would look at the others as sort of traitors, as people who had abandoned the original government. Like, it was working. Why did you do that? And to them, maybe they don't feel the same way. Maybe they think, like, no, it wasn't working. For my island, you guys are taking all the resources, and we were getting fucking nothing back in return. We were not benefiting from being a part of this provincial government. And so we can develop relationships like that. So is this in the 40k universe? Yes. Hypothetically. However, the specific Chief Arbites, if so. Okay, so the Arbites, 40k wise, let's look at the timeline where we're at. Just to re-catch up. Has this world even been discovered by the Imperium yet? In the timeline, we are in the year 2000... 22,500.
Didn't you say ideally you would want them to become cat people prior
No, by
to the Emperor come?
Yeah, by 25,000 they need to be cat people here. 25,000 is my kill date for they have to be cat people by then, so that they have thousands of years to adjust to their new forms. Not only that, but they have thousands of years to work out the kinks in the genetics, and they also have thousands of years to for the genetic line to stabilize more or less. As in, any sort of the cancers or tumors that are developing because of this mutation have sort of been weeded out. Either they suppressed the people that were, contagious with these genetic defects into camps. Yes, it's unfortunate, but they basically maybe didn't kill them, but they're like, okay, you're not allowed to breed, because if you breed, your children will suffer from these genetic defects, and that will slowly kill them. No problem. Yep, we're currently pre-unification era. The idea is that the Emperor will find this planet, not the Emperor himself, but one of the great legions or whatever. We'll get to that when we get to that. And then they'll be like, okay, I guess you're not too fucking retarded looking, so you can live. And the reason why we'll have them sanctioned in this period is because it makes a lot more sense for them to be sanctioned in a period in which the Emperor was a little bit more favorable of every arm of humanity. As the Emperor always looked at humanity as a whole, despite their various mutations, he could see the human roots in all of them. He was like, you're still human. Yes, you look like a fucking goat. Yes.
That would never made fucking sense to me, but whatever.
Well, the Emperor was much more, maybe philosophical, maybe emotional with it. As in, at one point they were humans. They're the lost children of man, and we're going to bring them back into the fold regardless. Yes, they have, deformities. But just because they're deformed doesn't make them not human. Because they were human at one point, and they can be human again. The way he looked at it in terms of what I read and got out of it was that he thought that he could bring humanity back together, and he wasn't willing to leave them behind. That they could be saved, that they could be brought back. Obviously, other people had different opinions, because they did fucking axe the fucking various groups of them at some point after his demise by Horus. Okay, so the resource war happens in 22,500. This is the big point. This is when the story gets fleshed out. Because all up until then, it's the golden age of man, and that shit doesn't make any sense because there's not enough fucking narrative to go off of. So we had to regress them back to a point in technology where we can understand them. And that's why we had a regression back into coal power as well as petroleum-based power. So maybe they won't even ever have promethium, honestly. Maybe there's no promethium on the planet. What stockpile they have is what they got. Maybe they tried making synthetic versions and it just doesn't work. I don't know. We'll save that again, and we'll bend back over to the world. Poof. Back over to the world. A, B, C, D, that spells planets for you and me. Sort of, kind of, in a weird, sort of delusional way. Oakley dokley. They had common humanity against the real problem, aliens. Exactly, Valken. So leper colonies. Yeah, basically. The Shogun of Caldora. I like them. They're going to be fucking stupid. We have all sorts of... Also, we need to make problems with Arcadia. They need to not be little perfect fucking snowflakes. They need to be...
Maybe their problem is they're actually too stuck up.
Yeah, they're elitist. Yeah, fucking...
What are you doing?
Trying to adjust it, but it slides the whole thing. Having a little issues with that. Whoop. Okay, so that's that culture. So, honestly, because of the amount of people on the planet, I'd say that women and sexes would actually be put into various different roles because not enough people. So, the men. Men in the Commonwealth... Actually, no. In this society, they might be a little bit more egalitarian. Versus in the Shogunate, maybe less so. Maybe there was not enough people there, too. The populations could vary. Being that the capital historically was here, this should be the more densely populated area, actually. But doesn't mean that people have emigrated, as time has went on. And spread out. Which they did. So history about Arcadia. Arcadia, or the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is the... What is it? The continuation of the original provisional government. They are. they are the last continuation of the original government, so that makes them the oldest government on this planet. Now, what else about them? History. History. What is big? What is a big event? Okay, so this is more so going into locations, but let's just say that the planetary capital was originally based in COA territory. We'll have to go into specifics, as in we'll have to name islands, we'll have to name oceans, we'll have to name fucking everything. We'll have to name archipelagos. Fucking, oh god. This is called world building, and yes, we are skipping so much because we're like, okay, we can use the Warhammer universe. Like, all the heavy lifting is done, but at the same time, it's still fairly blank slate, and so a lot of it needs to be made up.
Especially considering the planet literally has one line of dialogue about it.
Yeah, as in the one line of dialogue we found from the wiki is like, it was found, and like this Falinids lived there. And it was like, period. Damn.
You forgot the quarantine part, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it also got quarantined. So for whatever reason, they quarantined it. Yeah, we could maybe explain that. Maybe they're like, oh wow, these things are fucking kind of silly looking. Maybe we'll just quarantine it because we don't want them to spread.
Or maybe the Chaos War never ended or whatnot. Or just keeps coming back or something dumb like
pretty
that.
sure they'd fucking just nuke the planet. Right? Damn the people on there. They don't care.
Oh no, I know that. And
yeah, especially if they found it in the... Yeah, no, that would actually not make sense canonically, because if it was discovered in the Great Crusade era, and it had chaos on it, like if the Emperor figured out that, he would just fucking nuke it to oblivion. Firstly, he wanted nobody to know of chaos, and not even anyone have contact with it. They were trying containment policies to the best of their abilities. So I think that would kind of break the canon a little bit, and that would make this planet too much of a snowflake. It's like, ooh, look at this planet. It's special. It's like, no. It's special, but it's special in the fact that it has cat people. That's its only fucking redeeming quality. Now, the planetary capital was originally based on COA territory. Okay. Which is one of the reasons. It is also one of the most developed regions on the planet. This makes sense. Part of many of the other nations originally... Okay, we could even tie this in. So, like, many of the other nations before they gained their independence were often taxed, as well as had their resources, what would the word be? Not claimed, but confiscated.
Requisitioned?
Requisitioned during the... Yeah. Why did I capitalize that? Worldwide emergency. This is one of the reasons the COA is often looked at with disdain, because they took things, nor did they necessarily give much back in return. And that's true, because they technically didn't give a lot back in return. Either A, they didn't have, enough to give back, or B, they just kept it. Various corruption and things like that. Explain why military. It is rarely just because MB Admiralty Board was historically the most effective centralized unit. There was a need for resources, X billion ships for patrolling. Separate local powers did not produce enough to they're effectively centralized. At that point, here goes... Or is that supposed to be ergo's corruption and problems with? Is it supposed to be ergo's or here goes? I don't know. Here goes corruption and problems with redistribution. So many points of grow. Okay, type a little slower. I'm going to try to disseminate that still. Near that centered location, that leads to resource drawing from the lands. This keeps snowballing from some point critical. Honestly, I don't think they were able to make the resources dry up because they haven't been around enough. But maybe by now, like, things are starting to wean a little thin. Yeah, no, that's definitely sensible. Now, why did they take the resources? I think the simple answer is, like, they needed them to start, building up and trying to recover. Basically, being able to replace equipment. Yeah. That should be explained, actually. Hold on. I'm typing here, sorry. No problem. I mean, fuck. I shouldn't be one to complain. This thing is riddled with them. And that's part of drafting out a story, right? It takes a lot of effort. You got to put a lot of work into it. Okay, so what would be another thing we need to explain? Well, we need to make excuses and bullshit, right? Yes, we need to do that. Much back in return. Okay. Give much back in return. Yes. But actually, we don't need to justify their actions. We just need to state in history why it happened. Or no, we maybe should. The reason for this, I feel like
maybe you can say the reason why at least the Grand Admiral said why he needed to do it.
the reason stated by one, and this is one of the things we'd actually have to make like a historical line of the various admirals that ruled the nation, which gets a little bit bigger. The reason stated by one of the Grand Admirals was a need to replace, or no, need to replace 1-for-1 all equipment lost. The idea 1-for-1 is if we lose a boat, we need to be able to replace a boat. If we lose a fucking wrench, we should be able to replace a wrench. 1-for-1.
Or if you want to go back to the earlier Grand Admirals, a rationale could be that they were trying to build up enough resources to maybe try to even send a ship out, rather than just wait for a ship to come in.
Yeah, true.
And that was the.
And then maybe it was a that could actually be problems because okay, so actually I like that. Hold on.
As like whether or not he actually meant it.
Yeah, no. Hold up.
Story.
I like that because that actually makes sense. The reason for this was one of the first Grand Admirals stated that they needed to amass and centralize their resources so that they could attempt to regain contact with humanity. And he probably would think this.
And not only that, it would be a reason that all the different areas would be willing to give resources to.
Yep. That's actually what I was going to allude to next. Because, yeah, like you said, everyone's giving resources to this nation, and they're all pouring into it, but like, nothing came out of it. Their space program failed or whatever. Or maybe it worked, and the ship just never came fucking back.
All possible.
The thing is, they would have ships, and they'd probably poop them out and go like, oh, come on, help, help, somebody. Beacons. They'd probably try throwing probes. They'd probably just like, fuck anything in the system. Nothing. And just like, think about that. The fear. Isolation is like you were part of like this huge human network of worlds connected across the galaxy. And now you're just one world floating in space alone in the dark.
And don't know why.
I'm like, where'd everybody go? They just fucking forget about us? Like, what? There's a few million people here. You think somebody would miss them, you know? The reason for this was that one of the Grand Admirals stated that they needed to amass and centralize their resources so that they could attempt to regain contact with humanity. The various islands, they weren't nations yet, agreed and began pouring the resources into attempts to make ships. This ultimately failed because they probably didn't have the fucking capacity to make fucking spaceships. I like that idea.
Well, and if that was the effectively capital of the world, then there would at least probably be a landing pad or something like that where they could have had at least parts of ships.
You know, they
So
probably
at least
had
it was
parts, but
plausible.
they probably maybe didn't succeed because A, they didn't have enough promethium. They didn't have, maybe they couldn't get it into space. There could be. We don't need to really list the exact reason because we can come back to it. Again, a lot of the thing is my favorite thing is we can. It's a phrase you're going to get used to. We can come back to it and address it later. But the thing is, we're going to come back. That's important. When writing a story, you can't be like, "Oh, I'll just come back to it," and like, "Yeah, I'll do it later." Thing is, that's why we're going to use the run the circuit method of just like going back, throwing fluff, cleaning it up, running in circles a little bit, and eventually it'll be cleaned up and it'll look like a story. Began pouring the resources into to make ships. They ultimately failed, as they, for whatever reason, no. See, I'd have to read that and come back to that. This ultimately failed as, actually, fuck it, let's figure out the reason. Why did it fail? Or maybe it didn't fail. Okay, no wait, they were able to build ships because they had the spaceport. This ultimately failed as the ships they launched never returned. So they had built multiple ships. They had sent out multiple ships into the void. None of them came back. That probably... I mean, they wouldn't know. They'd be like, okay, why didn't the ship come back? What happened? That's actually something new. Good point. Good girl. He's like, I'm not a girl. Shut up, you. All right, so, new camp with a good idea. I like this. As they continued their efforts to make contact with mankind's empire, the resources on the islands began to dry up because they would be exhausting the most easiest to obtain resources, the resources on land. There's fuck tons of resources on this planet, but big problem, they're underwater. Can't quite get them. Or they can't quite get them easily. I'd imagine they've had submersible gear and stuff to get stuff, but they haven't properly got that set up yet. They can't build...
Well, probably a small scale operations, but nothing large scale.
Yeah, so they can't bring up resources, and it's very resource intensive to get resources out of the water. And it's risky, too. So right now, they're focusing all their efforts on just making contact. So I like that. Good job, New. As they continued their efforts to make contact with mankind's empire, the resources on the islands began to dry up. The various islands slowly began to hoard their resources in fear of shortages. A thing that happens in reality all the time. So some of the islands began to not send as much, telling them like, oh, we just don't have enough to send this time. As they begin to hoard it. They wouldn't want to send it all because now there's fear growing. This fear is going to culminate into them breaking apart. This distrust beginning to build here. And then obviously the COA might be, or it wasn't even the COA at the time. The provincial government might have been a little bit, heavy-handed. Or eventually the others just broke away. Honestly, this is the COA's lore. We don't need to allude to the reasons specifically because each nation will have their own reason for what they did to break away. So we don't want to
just say they have their own different narrative as to what happened.
This is the COA's perspective. As they continued their efforts to make contact with mankind shortages. Eventually this led to distrust to continue to grow as the various island states, one after another, like a domino effect, independence, as they believed that the provincial government Or the provisional. It's not provincial. Fuck. Keep saying provincial, and I know I've said that in other sections of the fluff. That needs to be cleaned up at some point. Provisional government to be too incompetent or corrupt. In their darkest hour. Things are looking bad. It's funny because they're going to one day become Neckos. Fucking. I find that funny. Silly. Okay. There. That's a big chunk of fluff right there.
It's a starting block, which is what you wanted.
Wish I could connect that to the timeline somehow. Because then I can make subcategories. Actually, I can already see the timeline technically being split by 30 different things now, but we're going to kind of keep it condensed for the sake of I don't want to kill myself. Okay, so resources, that could be primary. All right, so they would have probably have exhausted their steel and iron relatively soon. In space, no one can hear you squick. That's true, they can't. Pretty quiet out there. There'll also be some critical resource shortage. X iron, harvestable. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I feel like we have that kind of written down already. Because various resources. Iron would be one, definitely. Okay, the COA's fluff has been updated. I just like to click update in case something happens, because it's always good to click update, and then always good to click save after a big bout of progress in case something happens. Okay, what would the colors be? Well, orange. What would the symbols be? A cat. Just kidding, it's the provisional government. They shouldn't have a cat as their fucking symbol. Maybe it should be like a hand reaching out into this from the blue ball into space. Like, help! Help! Because that's kind of their feeling.
Maybe considering why they're the provisional government, maybe it's a variation on the logo of the company that initially started mining the planet.
A little shield around it or something? I don't know. Okay. What would the company logo be? That's the next question. Now we need to think about the golden age of man. What were the various companies? All right, who was this company? What did they do? And how do companies work in the golden age? Here's the thing. GW's never expanded on this, so this fluff territory we're entering is the lull. If they fucking write something, this is already out of canon. Already. And none of this is canon anyways, because I don't write the canon for GW. I just make crap up, it looks like. Alright, so, next up, symbols. What would they have? A world with a shield. Pretty simplistic. Honestly, they probably wouldn't have fucking put too much thought into it.
Maybe the crest with that hawk-like bird.
Oh, maybe like the world with the hawk-like bird above it, like with its wings spread out, you know? Protectively, shielding the world. Oh, like it's like the wings are spread around the planet. You know, like the wings are draped low below it, like shielding it from the unknown.
Oh, I was thinking it's like the bird is like behind it, and then there's the planet, and then like the bird's like flapping like around, with its wings coming around the planet. But yeah.
There you go. It's kind of a cool symbol. Okie dokie. So they'd have like a bird crest. KKK. That's cool. We can actually design their logo. We can scribble it out maybe later. This will probably be a multi-part series because I think this is actually kind of cool. What else can we do? By the way, chat, what do you think of this? Do you guys think this creative writing thing is kind of fun? Like, yeah, it's not a lot to look at. Honestly, I was thinking of like also sketching out stuff more. Like maybe instead of doing the world without you guys, next time I'll draw the world with you. So here's the water levels and shit. Should probably make like a map with a color code on it and be like, this means that. Like, that's deep as fuck. That's like just deep fuck. That's just deep shit, man. I don't know. Sort of deep. Little deep. Not deep. Fuck. Oh, terrible. Okay, what else can we do? The color is orange. Nice. What is their flag? They could have the symbol on it. It's an orange flag with just that on it. Races and ethnicities. That doesn't matter right now because honestly, they don't really. Racial problems are fun to do and write between different races and ethnicities, sort of conflicting and pushing against one another. But in this, I don't think there would be a lot of worry about that right now. Mostly, a lot of people are like, how do we get off this shithole? Like, yeah, it's a beautiful planet, but fuck it, you know? Would still like to go back home, even though it's been generations by now. They're probably like... Actually, no, by that point, they'd probably look at Terra and be like, oh, it's that mythical thing that's been talked about by everyone, but no one remembers it. No one's alive to remember it. Because that would be true.
Maybe there's like broken... What's the equivalent of video in 40K? What do they call it?
Not video. It's like not Vox. It's thing. Data slates, but data slates were invented later. I'm pretty sure they were invented later.
Well, surely they brought picture books. I don't know.
Okay, so weather, it's hot and shit. Probably. Okay, honestly, I think we should probably move on to the next nation, as we've already kind of slapped enough fluff on here. We don't want to get too stuck.
Yeah, like you said, you wanted a foundation. You have a foundation for them.
Okay, the COA is the original provisional government. Look, they already have a feeling to them. This is normally how I build nations when I write for a game too. It's like, Romans, I like that. Greeks, I like that. Fucking, I don't know, Mongolians, I guess. And then I go into them and I'm like, okay, that's great, but let's make it cool. Like, let's not just make it LOLXD, I'm a Mongolian. Like, it needs to be its own unique entity. You gotta build it into something unique. Picked pictures. Yeah, they probably have some pictures of Terra. God, can you imagine what it'd be like when they grow up when they have cat ears? They'd be like, what's a normal human look like? And they're like, oh yeah, you used to have regular ear things. Like, ew, gross. That's gay.
A subculture of fucking felonites that actually like cut their ears to look like normal humans now.
I don't think they'd cut their ears. Because their ears would be on a different part of their head. But I'd imagine they'd probably like wear, you know how like girls and people wear like headbands with like fucking cat ears? Well, in their world, it'd be like headbands with fucking human ears. Oh, that's terrible. Videos are called pics in 40K. Yep, pics. But would they call it a pict? Because that's a different part of humanity. Maybe they're still normal. Maybe they're like videos. And then the Imperium finds them and they're like, oh, what the fuck are they talking about? I'm like, radical, man. It's like, stop that. Stop it. You're stuck in the 90s. Stop that.
No one says radical anymore.
90s cat girls, they got like hats on backwards doing ollies and shit. Like, stop that.
Oh.
Okay, so next nation. Oops. That's you. Dominion of Radistan. Right, that name is bad and I don't like it.
No, that sounds more Russian, really.
We'll just kind of take one of the pre-existing names of an actual nation. Rhodesia.
Yeah, fair enough.
Dominion of Rhodesia. Yay. That's the name of an existing country. I hate that. I hate making names of actual countries.
I'm sure there's a like name generator based off ethnicity.
I don't actually do name generators. What I normally do when I make up names is I look at words from that language, or a language or a cultural group that I like. Like, let's say I was looking at like Greek. Like, I wanted to make like a Greek sort of like hybridization with Egyptian. I'd look at Greek names. I'd look at Egyptian names. Then I'd look at English words and sort of mix them together to sort of throw something together. If I want to make unique names. And why I'm mixing English all the time is because English is easier to pick up. Wait, people don't say radical anymore? Poor Skull. He's like, oh no. Puts down his little skateboard. Like, man, I'm sad. Right, so.
Oh, you forgot his backwards hat, but moving on.
Okay, let's show you the process of creating a government, right? Indian governments.
I mean, fair enough.
Well, we're gonna look at, I mean, if you're ever making something, you should base it on reality, because even art is based on reality. Look it up, look how it works, and then we'll make our own sort of hybridization or bastardization of it. Not the Westminster system. That's actually not what I wanted. Fuck. Westminster, fucking get that crap out of here. Ancient Indian governments. Okay, let's see how they were organized, how they were structured, why.
I'm pretty sure they were a caste system.
Yeah, they were a caste system, but I don't remember how. It's mainly tribal, and the head of the tribe was supposedly the Raja or the king. Okay. King, so monarchy maybe. I don't know if I like monarchy. I want to have a monarchist nation, because we have the shogunate and the tsardom, but that's already two monarchies. And who knows? Maybe authoritarianism, monarchists, royalists became a thing because of all the nation states that seceded. And it was due to power and greed. Various developments. Administration structure during the Gulpa period. Wow, that sounds autistic. Okay, well, I kind of have an idea. All right, so government. We're going to not call it the Raj, but we're just going to... They wouldn't use that word. They'd all kind of speak a uniform language, whether it be English or something. So they'd have a king, right? A head of state. The king is the head of state. Is the supreme leader and head of state. Now, hold on, there's one other thing. One other thing to look up, actually. Where do you go? Little fucking browser tab. Come back. Okay, so... One thing about monarchies is to establish what the fuck kind of monarchy it is. Okay. Definite state being the firstborn children, parents. Okay. King, it is not just so simple as that. It is a primogeniture. A primogeniture meaning basically the firstborn child of, you know, the ruling leader. Actually, it'd be a male primogeniture based on the cultural roots, because females in Eastern societies are devalued. So what is the word for that? It is a...
crap. CK2. Please help me remember.
Primogeniture, but there's the primogeniture male one. Isn't it like a something else is the other one that isn't?
It's like agnatic, cognatic. I'm fucking...
Agnatic primogeniture, if I remember right like that. What's an agnatic primogeniture? Agnatic primogeniture. Not pronunciation, god damn it. Geniture. I can't spell primogeniture anymore. I was spelling it right fucking second ago. Oh no. Primogeniture. What? Male preference is inheritance by the eldest surviving child, but females may inherit provided the subject has no son. The term agnatic cognatic primogeniture is used in the same meaning. Absolute, equal, or leaning. Okay, so it'd be a primogeniture. Not a primogeniture. Primogeniture. Primo, not primo.
There you go.
Genitor. It's a Ah! Why did I press 0? There we go, little lads. Like little lads.
Oh, if you're putting a 0 in there, I'm just imagining a bunch of fucking people with wheat speak.
Leave them alone. Yeah. Languages, they'd all speak the same language because the colony was that way. But culturally, they'd have different pronunciation and enunciations on things. But I'm not that autistic today, and I don't want to write that right now. So, that's more like nitty-gritty, fun, fluffy stuff. And honestly, when you're writing that kind of stuff, writing specific dialects things can be kind of cute. But if you make it overbearing, you'll make things like Jar Jar Binks, and everyone's going to fucking hate you. Damn. Rotted teeth and extra fur. That's kind of gross, though. Geography. History. Oh my god, what if we have the shogunate win? So Arith is actually like a shogunate cat girl. Nice. That's fucking stupid. clap into that. Or a Tsarist cat girl. She's Russian. She's
to be fair, her size would make sense. That's all I'm saying.
Or she's from Australia and she's like, oh, mate. Fuck it. I like the idea of that. Even on this world, she's from the kind of like fucking penal island.
Or Scandinavian. She was one of the experimentalists.
Fucking savage. All right. The king primogeniture. Okay, good. Is the supreme leader and head of state, right? And then it's broken down into nobles. So nobles act as the rulers of the various other islands, not directly under the king's dominion. Or no, domain. No, not direct rule. Direct rulership. Directly under the king's... What's the word? Because they're technically all part of the same thing, right? They're vassal states, so to speak. Directly under the king's... Under the king's direct rule. Not directly under the... I don't like that. It fucking triggers me. Alright, they act as the various they act as the rulers of the various other islands. Right, that's fine. Fuck. Under the king's dominion. Fuck, I have to put that there. It should go without saying, but whatever. They have a caste system because they're fucking retarded. They have the fucking warrior caste? No, it would be like sea boy caste. Seafaring caste. And they have the farming caste, or agriculture castes, because they'd have to use fucking water somehow.
And then they also had like a priest caste as well.
Priesthood. Would they have a priesthood? They already have like different religions in them.
Historically they did. That's
yeah, but we don't need that. It doesn't make sense for them to have the priest caste in this society because they don't care so much. Except, is the king chosen under the divine? In our worlds, yes. In this world,
yes.
No. Because religion would matter, but it wouldn't be a big thing. Or maybe it would be. Maybe he'd be like, the Hindu god has chosen me to lead us out of this dark time. Whatever. Okay, yeah, you know what? There is a religious caste. Fuck it. This will be the more religious state. Okay, I like that. The Tearsman from Tyranny. Oh, Tyranny's it's a game that I was like, ooh, the writing idea is really cool. And then I played it and I was like, ooh, it's just kind of, it's kind of retarded. It's kind of stupid. Fuck, why is it bad? It wasn't bad, it was just mediocre. Prima Nocta implemented. You and your big words and you and your big fucking name. Holy shit. Youngin Mungan you whoa. That's a big name. Chusake? It's like a what? Fuck you. Kill yourself. Alright, so they have fucking casts. Why? Because I want to ream my head against the wall. Okay, what other casts would they have? Fucking peasant caste? Fucking A. Seafaring caste?
Well, typically the peasants would cover agriculture as well, so it would be the warrior caste, the priest caste, and then the peasants. If you just want to keep it relatively simple.
Yeah, because if we do seafaring, that breaks it down way too much, and then I have to kill myself.
Yeah, so I would just argue condensing it all into like the warrior caste, or you could also go the other way and like the sea caste also deal with war as well.
Sea caste deal with war. Yeah, no, I think they call it the sea caste. A little bit different because there's so much fucking water. There's so much fucking water. The military arm of the Rhodesian people. This includes army, air, and sea. Technically it'd be fucking sea first, though. Peasant caste. The peasant caste. The majority. I don't know, the basic population. Actually, the peasant caste, we don't have builder caste. Yes, condense it more. Yes. The builders, farmers, fishermen, extra fishermen. I kind of want to take it seriously, so I don't want to fucking like write stupid stuff anymore. God damn it.
Yeah, you can say the backbone of the society, because like that's the majority.
I'll say the backbone of the Dominion. They are the builders, farmers, and fishermen. Well, basically everyone of
pretty much
of Rhodesia. There we go. Peasant caste, blacks. God damn it! Fucking terrible. God, what about chaos?
Also
we'll get to chaos.
It would be brown.
They'd be brown, yeah. Religious caste. The religious caste makes up the Hindu priesthood, right? Doesn't know enough about priesthood.
I'm sure there's a special word they have for it, but I don't know it.
Fuck it. I can't be fucked right now. Alright. There. Is the organization of the various classifications of the citizens of the Dominion. Yes. Boop. Boop. There. It's a primogeniture. Why? Because fuck you. Alright, so, geography. Oh my god, would they have an emperor? Oh shit. When the Emperor of Man finds it, like, oh, fucking fake Emperor. Fucking. These islands become a crater.
Someone's falling down a few flight of stairs repeatedly.
Sad, they're dead now. Alright, so, how did they secede? Well, honestly, I don't think they'd be the first to secede. I think, like, the TOV would secede first, and then they'd be like, well, fuck it, I'm seceding too. I'd say they'd secede together, but separately. Or, I like the idea they seceded together, and then basically there was a secession, conflict within them.
If that's the case, then what would both nations kind of be specialized in?
Would they be specialized by this point? By this point, they're very autonomous, I think. Historically, though, they would have had a specialization, which we'll write down right here. But I'd say that all these nations, by this point, it's been thousands of years, they'll be autonomous. They'd have to be autonomous. If they're very reliant and dependent, that would be a big fucking weakness. And does it mean that they're not necessarily? Yeah, no. Of course, there's some resources that they probably don't have in abundance that they have to trade for. But they have autonomy, enough so that they have independence. Slavery. That's their specialization. Damn. Alright, so resources, we're not going to worry about it right now. Geography, not gonna. I mean, it's fucking archipelagos everywhere, pretty much. Fuck you. Culture is the thing we need to do. Yay. Culture, kill me. Alright, so, Hindu and Indian. Yay.
Well,
men and women.
This is going to be the religious group. Maybe this is where the majority of the religious buildings were centered.
I wouldn't say, though, because that's not really how religion works. They don't really build, like, one place of religious buildings. Like, if you look at Christianity, they build little churches everywhere. If you look at Islam, they build little mosques everywhere, et cetera, little temples.
Because I'm thinking back to it's like when the planet was, like, first founded. It's like, okay, the First Nation, it's like, okay, this is where the central administration landed. It's like, okay, over here, this is where we're putting this thing. That's more what I was thinking along the lines of.
Also, to answer fucking for we Jordan Pewdison, fuck my name, pronunciation of that, whatever. Why we call it the Dominion of Rhodesia is because we can't come up with a name with it right now. It's just a placeholder name. No, it is not based off the real world Rhodesia. It's basically India, actually. And I could just say the Dominion of Raj, you know, kind of like historically, but I cringe every time. So I'm not going to do it. Rhodesia sounds cool, and I'm probably going to use something with Desia, like Odessia. I kind of like making up words more. I kind of hate basing things off actual words. But I do it enough, I think. Let's see. And no, you shouldn't actually go down the trope of making everything have a special name. Like the herpa derpa slurpa derp. Like, that's just fucking autistic. But it's normally like twisting words a little bit so that they inflect a certain feeling or vibe or have a certain meaning. Door specializes in battleships. What? Are you kidding me? They specialize in dreadnoughts? Get it right? Coastal battleships. I can't get their ships sink in the deep seas. Oh no. That's kind of sad though. That means how would their ships get over here? Fuck. Sadness.
But plus, even then, if they're building ships that size, how the fuck would they get them off the planet?
But no. Boats. Water boats. Floaty boats. Boats that float on the water, not on the space. Golden Age places that survived became places of worship. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, all these, most of the Golden Age era buildings would be over here. And then there would be over everywhere else, but, you know, whatever. A lot of Golden Age buildings at some point within a few generations would be torn down and used for scrap, using the various bits.
Better yet, maybe that's just where like one of the evangelical like televangelist places to set up shop, and that's why they're like that.
Huh? What?
No, I'm just trying to think. It's like, why would that place be more religious than everywhere else? That's all.
Why? Oh, just cultural. Does it have to have necessarily a physical reason? Well, probably because a lot of the people that had originally moved in that direction were... Because when people move, if you ever look at groups or cultures or races when they move, they generally move as a group, relatively. Not always. There's always some that stay there and go there. And normally they're bred in with the other people that live there, and so you don't even notice that they were ever there to begin with, as generations go on. But most times, from what I see when I look at the historical maps and migratory periods, you see groups of people moving, and they move as a unit. Sometimes they split and go different directions, and sometimes that split dies, and that doesn't. And stuff happens like that. I don't think they're tearing down temples. What the heck? I'm sure that when the Imperium finds them, they're going to fucking have a little bit of a hard time being like, no, but we've had these religions since, like, forever. And so maybe that's like a secret thing they do that the Imperium doesn't like, is they really don't actually believe in the Emperor. They still believe in the old gods from Terra. Ooh, boy. That's kind of cool, because that could mean, like, that could be like a threat that they could get fucking bombed for and burned. That's maybe why they quarantined the cat people. They don't quite trust them. They're not cat people yet. Okay. Basically, what we're doing here, though, is that the events from this action will turn them into cat people. They'll be unified under a single government after it, and then, or maybe not, depends on how it feels. And the idea is that as we proceed forward, these cultural roots will be the basis of the various groups of people or various people that could come from this planet. So technically, there will be two versions of this map. One will be more of a summary of the cultures. The final map will just summarize the existing government before man finds it, as well as the various cultures. So this would have a different culture. This will have a culture. You know, this will still have its culture. This is just basically background fluff. This is the kind of fluff that you'd find in a book if you were autistic enough to read it. Like, you really dig the universe and you really want to dig into it, and it's like, here, look at this fucking shit. All right, so men and women valued in the society. Men, honestly, would be probably higher above. Why? Because Indian culture as a whole always values men over women. Normally. Though it's become more egalitarian as time has gone on. And so maybe not. We don't actually have anything like Islam. And honestly, if
they're still doing the caste system.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, it wouldn't be men. It would be more so under the provisional, under the fucking dire circumstance thing. Actually, I was thinking something. If I were to write Islam into this world, what I would do is I would actually clean it up. I would probably do what... Because if Islam was to exist in the future, okay, how would it exist? Well, it would have to experience what Christianity experienced. It would have to go through a... what's it called? Not a revolution, but it's sort of like an internal religious change, a modernization.
Reformation.
Yep, a reformation. Much like Christianity. Honestly, I would imagine at this point, Christianity has gone through several reformations and changed with culture. I love it so much. Thank you, Kibbs. I mean, I will probably release this publicly at some point. Islam is too mainstream. Zoroastrianism? Oh my god, the inbredness. Get out of here. Get out of here. You think Islam is inbred? Oh my god. Zoroastrians.
Zoroastrianism.
I don't like them. I don't like them at all. I think they're retarded.
You think ethno-status are dumb.
That's like
Wait till
lol.
you see them.
Family states. Fuck it. We were not going to do that yet. What did we do for the last guy's culture, or last group's culture? Let's go look.
We kind of just basically started it from, this is where the original Grand Admiral had their headquarters, and that's kind of where you spun it out from. That's why I was trying to think of it, like, okay, maybe this is like where like a televangelist church like had their primary building, and that's where it kind of branched from.
Or maybe like a guru or something fit the culture. Guru.
That could work as well.
History time. No, 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 no. Alright, time to write the history of Rhodesia. Fuck, I should stop using the word Rhodesia, because if I change their name, I'll have to go back and fix it everywhere. Fuck! I forgot about that. Alright, fine. It's canonically going to be Rhodesia, because I can't be fucked to go back right now. Okay, so Rhodesia is seceded. That's not how you spell seceded, I'm pretty sure. But there's no autocorrect function. God, I wish they added that. It would just fix like so many minor things when typing. And a minor grammar implementation would be nice. But oh well. What I normally am going to do is I'm going to take this all out, put it in Microsoft Word, which is down here, and then fix it up there, and then import it back in. Okay, seceded, whatever. Don't worry about fucking grammar. Just keep going. Seceded. Along with... What is your name again? You're like the fucking T. Tsardom of Vladivostok. What's called Tsardom? Tsardom. From the provisional government. Why am I capitalizing random words? I don't know. Because they'll secede as a pair, because that way the provisional government will have to, you know, fight both of them if they want to try to fucking debate it. I'll say that they seceded first. So they poofed, and then they poofed right after them, and then they poofed. And then eventually they were like, well, nobody wants it.
At that point, the provisional government's like, so you guys want to leave too?
Just sort of shooed them off. Okay, seceded along with the Tsardom from the provisional government. Okay, they don't want to be a part of that. They viewed we'll just refer to it as the COA from this point on, because that way people who are reading it will be like, okay, these guys. Or no, the provisional government who would become... No, this is how we'll word it. Provisional government who would later become the Commonwealth of Arcadia. I hate that word. Mostly because it's overused. Alright. It's a good word.
You use it still.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I save most of my creative brain power for my stuff, my personal stuff, because like that stuff has got to be fleshed out. But I should do it. Arcadia. It fits the universe. Okay, it's not my universe. We're making it for the Warhammer universe. Bear that in mind. And that's why I'm using words that are actually more so realistic. Considering this fucking planet's name is goddamn Carlos McConnell. Ah, it drives me up the wall. I wish I could retcon that. Carlos McConnell is such a dumb name. And I have a total feeling that was like some guy like, I found this planet. I'm going to name it after me. My name's Carlos. Hey! Fucking like, Carlos. The map looked pretty. He's like, I'm going to name it after myself. A map. World. Derpty derp. Okie dokie. So, viewed provisional government who would later become the Commonwealth of Arcadia. Derpty derpty. Wait, no. They viewed the provisional government who would later become Arcadia in a very negative light, as they blamed them for the various food shortages. Make it like India. Various food shortages they suffered.
Or maybe they didn't like it because they viewed them as having a lack of faith.
That could be one of many reasons, actually, they suffered. They also viewed... They also found the lack of faith disturbing. I have cancer. Right.
I remember when you said you were going to try to be semi-serious.
Well, they did. They found it disturbing. That's not a reason enough for them to fucking leave, though. I mean, no, people historically have done stupider things. Seriously.
That's why I was laughing. It's like, are you sure, Kibbs?
Actually, that makes perfect sense. They need to be flawed because everything has to be flawed. They found
that's why
lack of religiosity. That's not even a word. No. Faith. And religion. No, they found their lacking beliefs to be troublesome. It's like a fucking edited version.
Well, it's just like, since you like went out of your way to say it, it's like, hey, they're religious. It's like it makes it seem like it's like, okay, the people here, like, that's actually a really big deal to them.
Yep, troublesome. As the people of Rhodesia will say it like that. They're like Russians, but the guys above them are supposed to be like Russians. But why do they have the Indian accent? Because you're fucking with me, that's why. Are very religious. This stems, and we could segue. Very religious. Their religiosity, I want to use that word, if that's a word, stems from... What? Stems from who? What does it stem from? Variants. Stems from...
You wanted them to be
stems from...
said they wanted to be Hindu, so...
Stems from their Hindu roots. Back to Mother Terra.
Well, and then you also floated it out there that it's like, oh, hey, maybe there was a guru that happened to be here.
This was
for some reason
only aided by a guru who had set up shop initially early into the colonization. He is now viewed as a sort of saint.
As the first saint.
As
the first saint.
As the first saint of Rhodesia. Oh god, they're actually developing their own religion. This might be where chaos comes from.
Possibly.
They might be chaosy. In fact, these two nations already have a link to feeling chaosy. It's a lot of...
Or alternatively, they could view the chaos as the false gods. But, well...
True. I mean, they're still Hindu. They just look at him as a saint. He's a little bit fetishized. Might update that shit.
Look, it's so far in the future. I'm sure there's a bit of a difference between this version and modern day Hindus.
Keep going.
You know.
Keep going. It's like when we were writing the story for our game the other day, and I was like, keep going. And the farmer's just like, brains fizzling out. No stopping. No stopping. Right, culture. Because you have no idea how much work there is to do when you're world building. And when you're world building a fucking entire universe from scratch, fuck me, that's not fun. Alright, so, Tsardom. How does Tsardom... Okay, I need a refresher. I have an idea how the fucking organization works, but I need a refresher.
I think they were based on oligarchs.
Yep, I'm pretty sure. Okie dokie, Google. You show me that Tsardom shit. He's like, Nope. It's a form of autocracy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Which I'm very confident it was autocracy.
Let's be a little bit more descriptive. Russian Empire government. Government structure. Okay, let's take a peeksy squeaksy. Russia's Empire Tsar. Political and religious head of state. That's not surprising. That's pretty standard for monarchy. Okay. So, Russia's Empire Tsar. Political and religious head. Most Holy Synod. Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers, Most Holy Synod, and the Duma. Okay, what was the Duma again? Just a bit better? No, that has nothing to do with anything. Okay, so hold on. Duma. Duma, the legislative body and a ruling assembly of Russia, and some of other republics of the former Soviet Union. Okay, so they kept the Duma relatively from the original empire government. It's like an assembly. That's a little bit nitty gritty. We can actually just Council of Ministers. I don't like that. Chiefs of State. The idea is we take a... Okay, Duma equals Parliament. Thank you. Some local paramilitary Strelki. Yep. If you would like to add more brain power for creating words, you have some peeps on Discord. Not at the moment, but I appreciate the offer. The idea is that it's also a workout for me to get me also being creative and not more so to, I don't know. It's a good way to get feedback right away, like, but it's also got to be careful. I got to be careful when doing it because, like, okay, I get feedback right away, but one of the downsides is, like, criticism's good, but criticism in the wrong way can be bad, if that makes sense. Like, you can get criticism that can be bad criticism if it pushes you in a silly direction. Like, let's say we get some funny criticism about, like, you know, fucking Neckos or something, and it's like, you take that too seriously, you'll do something stupid, right? You know, stuff like that. General governances, self-ruling monarchies, provinces, governance. Imperial level. Oh my god, it's a pyramid. It's the pyramid scheme, guys. Holy shit. Okay, so I'm gonna have to make up some shit here because Russia's government system looks like it's gonna give me fucking brain cancer. So they're gonna have a czar as the head of state, right? It's not a czar with a Z, but I thought it was with a Z. I'm so confused. Actually, I've seen it spelled like this too. Fuck it. I like the way I like this spelling. It's that. Fuck you. I do what I want. It's special czar. Tsar, the head of state, as well as the spiritual protector of the orthodoxy faith on... Fuck! I missed a word. I do that all the time. You have no idea. It drives bubbles up the wall. What's it called? What's this? Oh, it's fucking Carlos Mencia or something stupid. What's the name of this shithole again? Carlos McConnell. Yeah, okay. Carlos.
Yeah, Carlos McConnell.
McConnell. Fucking hey. GW, just let me rename one thing. Just that one thing. That's a fucking name. It's bad. I have AIDS. Help. Alright. So, the second people in charge will be the ministers. No, not the ministers. The supreme dudes that help dudes. They do stuff. They do doodly things. What do the dudes do? They doodly do, dude. Ah, the Council of Ministers. We'll keep that. I like that. It sounds cute. Kid, isn't it not like effectivism? And then obviously we'll have the religious head. You know what? We'll keep the Most Holy Synod. In fact, maybe this guy had a little bit of an obsession with previous governments in history. We won't say the Duma, though. We can worry about that later. Or I may want to reword it. Duma just sounds like it's dumb or something. Resources, geography, kawaii and shit. Religion. Okay, they're going to suppress these religions because they don't like them. Because they don't. Catholicists? What the fuck happened here? Catholicism. Actually, they probably fucking, let's get rid of that. We don't need to say that. We kind of have an idea already. They'd probably suppress Protestant, like... a lot of religious suppression, so there would be tensions there. Call it Privy Council, since it's a monarchy. Yeah, okay, fine. I like a privy. Fuck!
Isn't privy more of a European thing rather than a Russian thing?
We'll keep a Council of Ministers. I'm indecisive on this one. We'll come back and adjust it. Because it's a monarchy, there is no such thing as one form of it. There is a standardization, if you look at history, but don't be afraid to take creative license in some fields. Remember, making copy-pasties of, real-world things can be boring snoring. Which is why by the end of this, the Tsardom, which is going to have a Z, or a C instead of a T, is the Cov. Nice, it's like the cog. They're related. Stop it. Stop making the bling at me. The most holy of synod. Okay, alright. So he's the religious figurehead of the Orthodox Church. And these churches probably would only be, pretty small amount. Council of Ministers are the advisors as well as nobles, because we need them to have little lands and stuff. Nobles of the various provinces in the Tsardom. Boop. Right, let's just kind of feel them out real quickly. So, they are going to have a king. No, we have 2 monarchies already. I already have, and there's definitely going to be a third one. I'm getting sick of these monarchies. They can have all sorts of fucking royal weddings between each other and get all sorts of incest and disgusting shit that we're going to have to write about. Maybe this one, okay, fine. It can be a monarchy, but maybe it's more fucking less retarded. It has a king.
It's more of an oligarchy.
But
so
it has
kind
a
of like a
parliament. Ah ha 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 ha. Ha ha, cuck the king. The king was probably cucked out by the parliament because funny. Maybe. No. King, parliament. But he's more of a figurehead, sort of like Britain or Norway or European countries as a modern. Parliament, followed by governor. A single governor. They have only one. That's only one thing to govern. That's a pretty big piece of land, though. Just saying.
I'm sure they have districts.
Is the popular figurehead of state. And this could become because he was a great leader, and so they just named him the king, and his descendants became like sort of like what's the word? Celebrities almost. Parliament.
So like the seat of the king is more apolitical, and the politics is done by the parliament.
Mm-hmm. Technically, that would put the king under here. So realistically, he's not technically a figure. He's a figurehead, but it's like kind of tied to the government because they kind of use him to push their agenda. More like not like a puppet, but sort of. Okay, so the governor is tasked in the same way as that of the old provisional government. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Parliament is the political body of the state. They are tasked making decisions. No. They are elected. There is an election process in this world. They are elected by the various counties. Or no, they are the various representatives. What's his name? Fuck. Fix his country name. It's going to be called... No, I will go and look up words and we will put something together that's not dumb sounding. It probably will be. I will figure out something. What are we going to figure out? Scandinavia, you have countries. Okay. Okay. Ah. Osterbergen. I like it. It sounds dumb. Osterbergen. Why? Anyone who speaks any Scandinavian language will look at that and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And they'll be like, shut up. It sounds cool. And the fucking colors will be white and blue. Basically Finland. Cancer. Ew. Alright, so. There we go. Osterbergen. I don't know how to make this cute little O that they do over there in Europe. Gibbs, you can also add some non-official government organ. Purely government organ. Purely consultant, but with real power. Organ. Now I'm thinking like it's fucking like a little fucking lung just laying there on the desk. It's like, ew, gross. Kill it with fire. Guys, shouldn't you guys be getting ready for work tomorrow? It's fucking 12:23 a.m., you little shits. Oh my fucking god. It's Monday. Oh god, reports are today. Shit. Oh god, taxes too. Fuck. Kill me. Starts crying. I gotta finish that next Star League lore video at some point too. Poopsie scoopsie. Right, update this. Save this again. Alright. No, I only work during Sundays. Damn. Sleep is for the weak, lol. Okay, but what we are going to do is we are going to call this here, because we did make a fair bit of progress. I'm only going to work on this during these streams, but I'm thinking this could be like a cool thing we do. And like this is kind of like an introduction into it. Look, Frank McDaniel. He's the fucking first Grand Admiral. He's tied to this point in history. Yeah, our timeline stopped progressing. Actually, there's one couple things I want to do here. You little dirty cunts. I'm like, stop. Right, so what do we need? After that is the Not the Rise of Chaos. Map, come back. Okay. This will keep my mindset in place. The War on Terror. The War on Chaos. That will be right after that. Unification is a plot point we want. Poop. And what else do we want? Okay, War on Chaos, Unification. And then honestly,
if that's the case,
peace.
Then
Peace.
shouldn't it be the third unification?
Shut up, you.
Or is it the second?
Shut up. Shut up. Kill you. I'll do it. I'll do it now. Alright, so unification followed by another thing that happens that's important and shit. What is it? What? Oh! No, not Discovery yet. A golden age of basically they're gonna catch up to the Imperium almost. Not quite. Like help, we're catching back up in technology. But it's gonna be their golden age. And
That's
then
golden age in quotes.
The reunification. Family, yay!
The fuck, you guys are still here?
And then what happened during the Horus Purposey? Or no. An Imperium world. Because it's now an Imperium world. That will be a big fucking change to literally everything. Some of the cultures will be eroded away by Imperium culture. Some of it. Some things. Governmental reorganization. Depends on if they let the basic ruling body stay the same. Whatever it is. An Imperium world, followed by what happens in the Horus Heresy. Does anything happen? Maybe nothing. Maybe they're lucky. You know, the Warhammer 40k universe likes to talk about all the worlds where all the shit happens to, but maybe once the Imperium discovers them, they're like, yeah, no, we're fine. Nothing bad happens there. Nothing interesting happens, probably. What happens during the Horus Heresy? Followed by Dark Millennium. Which is going to be sort of where they are now. Because we're going to do a time skip.
So basically just quarantine.
Mm-hmm. Boop. Boop. Wait, no, that's not how you do it. Don't do it like that. If you ever use this program, don't do that, what I just did. If you make the arrows, they'll be in the wrong direction. You have to drag from this.
I was going to ask that.
Boop. 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 Boop.
Almost there?
Look at that, guys. We're going to get there. Oh, my God. You know, it's fairly the simplistic timeline, honestly. I've done a lot worse. Oh, my fucking soul hurts. What's the goal? What's the end goal of this fan fiction, Kyle? Well, it's actually just to work on it, really. Work on it, practice showing you guys this program. I think it's really cool. You should definitely check it out. Can't follow you. Sexy. It's on Steam. It's a little expensive, but they're working on it. Think of it as early access, really. We can do characters, and we might do more stuff. What we're going to do initially is we're going to do a lot of the heavy world lifting stuff, which is going to be really just building the countries of this shithole. Which is actually, if we go to world view maps, McConnell system, like then we got to flesh out the solar system, what planets are in there, right? I'm thinking there's not going to be that many planets. I think it'll be a fairly small system. That way, when they do get spaceflight, they'll be like, lol, we can't do nothing. There's nothing to do. And then we'll go planet. So yeah, the resource war, and then I'll make another map for chaos when, you know, that whole fucking thing goes down. We might even just make some mock naval battles and just talk about the fluff and how warfare worked on this world, explain it. And then basically, when they're absorbed into the Imperium, we'll talk about what they could be valuable for. Right now, I just see it as like, lol, they'd probably be, if the Imperium ever needed like a naval thing, like, hey, we need like boats and shit. What?
Which is really fucking funny considering Felonids and what people think they're good at.
Well, it's like, is that realistic though? Does it have to be stereotypical? No.
No.
I think breaking the mold is more fun and more interesting than fucking doing the same thing over and over again. But that's just me, though. The Imperium helps building infrastructure of uniting islands by building large subterranean highways under the ocean on the other islands. which would be cool focal points. Yeah, honestly, well, I'm not thinking that really so much because you have no idea how fucking massive those fucking highways would be.
Not to mention with the tectonic movement, just cracking those all the time.
Yeah, the tectonic plate moves and that fucking snaps one of those fucking tunnels. The whole tunnel floods. It takes weeks for it to flood. Everyone under there's dead. The tunnel is now useless. So no, subterranean tunnels probably not going to be a thing. Floating cities makes a lot more sense. They'd build them relatively off the coastline. Basically it's propped up land reclamation projects, things like that. Things that Japan and Netherlands do. They'd probably implement some land reclamation, basically trying to sort of raise land, or not just raise land, but
No, what they do
clear
is
it.
they basically build out massive levees and then drain the water in.
Just think about it. They could basically build levees around certain areas and just get all sorts of land reclaimed and expand back out. Build floating habitats, things like that. Underwater biomes, biodomes, probably not because that's so resource intensive. Yeah, it sounds cool. So maybe they do like one, but it'd be like maybe a research station or something like that, or maybe industrial complexes will use underwater biodomes. That makes sense. No, to a degree, maybe. They basically have giant vents leading up into the sky, which would vent out all of the fucking clutter.
Or who knows? You haven't decided what resources are where.
Imperium helps out the Tsar. Well, the planet's going to be long unified by the time they fucking are rediscovered because we need them to be. The Imperium picking a little thing. Honestly, the Imperium would show up and they'd be like, lol, finally. All this fucking awful shit. Because think about it. From their perspective, they're going to like look up to the stars, and at one point they're going to stop being like wondering what's out there and be like, oh, fuck, it's this. They're going to get so focused on the little things, and it's going to be funny when they're reintroduced into the Imperium. It's like, lol, you're insignificant and you don't matter.
There's gonna be a few crazy people like the CUA there. It's like, I'm back.
I'm building off something New River thought of. But what if there was a floating trade hub between the nations from before the age of strife, like Un. I don't know what the Un is. New River's come up with some pretty good ideas. I wonder, does he do writing himself? But you don't have to be a writer to come up with good ideas. In fact, a lot of good ideas come from people who have no experience. UN, United Nations? Probably not. Would there be a trade hub? Probably. Who would it be? Probably Greater Australia, once I fucking reworked their name. Would they build a giant floating city? Probably not. It's too resource
intensive. Yeah.
Well, right now in the timeline where we're at for this world, it's too resource intensive, and the technology isn't there yet, even for them. Would they have one eventually? Yes. But would it be sort of like a go-between between the various nation states? In the timeline, probably not. The thing is, this world, I don't know. I might rework it. I might expand it. I'm writing code only. Look at that. He's a code boy. Code monkey! Get him, code monkey boy. Code monkeys are useful. They make all sorts of fucking stuff. Look, it's called O. Oh... This is what happened when I had the autistic idea, like, let's practice writing in fucking Campfire. I was like, oh, let's practice writing in Campfire, but let's write fan fiction for Warhammer. What should we write it about? Lol, let's look at fucking doesn't have enough fluff. Alright, Felinids. Oh. That was an idea.
And then you choose an oceanic world.
Why? Because I think it's more interesting. Also slightly easier. It's a little easier. Though we'll have to do the tectonic plates at some point. And we'll have to base it off a pre-made map, because we did it after. That's okay. I see a tectonic plate here. Maybe there's a split there. Or this might be one plate. There might be something weird going on there.
Yeah, if you want to keep it simple. 3, maybe. Yeah, no, that one's breaking in half.
There might be like 3 major plates, and there might be like a bunch of minor plates. You can have tons of plates. Just bear in mind every plate. Once I do plates, we'll have to rework some of the islands. So And this is a rough draft map, right? There will be more islands than this. This is fucking nothing. And this is not how islands look. If I could show you the map we just made, it's fucking fantastic. This is not that. This means nothing. Fetinids are gay. Well, fetinids are gay. The kids can't see that far. That's true. They are gay. The ones that are women's is, but they can't be though.
Because they're women.
That's true.
Or girls, specifically.
The men's is can be though.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Look at that. Oh boy. But yeah, no, Campfire's pretty cool. You could use it for RPs if you really wanted to. But I mean, it's a lot of writing and a lot of work using it. It's not going to just assemble itself.
Oh, it's nice if you have like a bunch of basic ideas and you want to make sure that they flow. And just to keep things straight.
Because we got a lot of headway done with these guys. Got some fluff. Got some stuff. Some of it's autistic and I don't like it because it's silly. And it needs to be cool and it needs to fit within Warhammer 40k. It also needs to just match it. It also needs to be not that strong. They need to be really weak. Because they shouldn't be a threat. Not sure if you play it, but I know a game called From the Depths. Could be interesting if you wanted to simulate battles in that game for this. Maybe. I don't really need to simulate battles. I'm writing. We'll go through it. I'm sure the only thing stopping us is ourselves. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, I'm going to wrap this up here because I need to go to bed. You guys need to go to bed. You need to get ready for work and shit. Yeah, but we'll probably do these every once in a while. We'll see how it goes. And I'll only make progress when we work on it together. So that way we can have input. It's sort of like a practice, an exercise. And remember, when you're writing, sometimes it's easier just to write fan fiction as a practice. You could discard it, throw it away, show it to your buddies, do stuff like that. But it's a good way to get a workout, so to speak. Exercise your creative muscles. Okay, fucking save that shit. Here we go. Anyways, until next time, guys, have a good night. Talk to you later.
Bye.